of the week. It's a Wednesday, February 2nd, 2022 edition of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Welcome in. We're always live from the Family Leisure Studios in beautiful Memphis, Tennessee, where we have an ice storm warning through Friday. We got to be careful. Some of the inclement weather. I mean, hide everybody. Make sure you go seek shelter. Go get your bread and water and your milk from the store. That's usually what happens around here, at least. I am Gabe Kuhn. My partner does
charge your phone.
Yeah, charge your phone. Make sure we handle that. It's not about if we're going to lose power. It's about when we're going to lose power, Brett. That's what they always say. Right. I'm Gabe Kuhn. My partner, you've already heard him, does pre and post for the Ole Miss Football Radio Network. He's Brett Stats Northern. Brett, hello.
I'm doing well, thank you. Hello to you. Hello, Brian.
And producing the program, Go Tigers 247 writer, Bryant Davis. Brian, hello.
Hello, fellows.
Did I step on your introduction, Brian? I'm sorry.
No,
it's all good. It's fine.
The earlier, the better.
And
Gabe, we are broadcasters, and I'm serious when I say this because I know Dr. Flynn and Shay and the powers that be here are very serious about it. We have a public responsibility. We're licensed by the feds for the people,
right?
And we want to. I know people get tired of getting talked to like 10-year-olds. But the drumbeat of caution is why people do it. And between now and this time tomorrow, it's going to be for keeps. Around here, you almost always can bet the no on snow or ice or winter conditions, and you'll win 97 out of 100 times.
Look,
but when you miss, and this is one that they're not missing. I've got a friend of mine that owns a tree cutting company that handles all the utilities for the state of Arkansas, the rural electrics, Entergy. He has all those contracts. And I texted him today. I said, "You on alert?" He texted back, WW4, as in World War IV. They're not missing this time. It's for keeps.
Look, there will be ice. There's no question about it. But I look at the forecast for tomorrow. It's a low of 25 and a high of 37. I know there'll be about a half.
That's wheelhouse for ice, though.
It'll be a half inch. It'll be about a half inch
perfect
ice.
For it.
There's no question about it. But how long is it going to stay? Is it going to knock out power? We'll see.
It turns us into demolition derby, a half inch.
Yeah. We lose our minds.
We're out there bumping cars at State Fair. I mean, with a half inch.
We lose our minds. There's no question about it. Now I mentioned Bryant from 247. Bryant,
hey there, Gabe.
How do you guys handle this signing day? Is it even do you even pay attention to it? Early signing day means everything nowadays.
Yeah,
they've ruined signing day.
Yeah,
they really have.
This is the OG one. This is the one I ended up committing and signing on.
Yeah, and I mean this is the one everyone remembers waking up and watching ESPN all day. They have their special shows. It's
dance.
Different.
Live animal dance.
Yeah, I mean, they'd have everything. It's different. A lot of, especially for the Tigers, a lot of those guys have already committed.
Right,
I think today only a couple have committed and signed today. So it's definitely different. I mean, we still have stuff up if you want to go Tigers 247. We have everything you need to know about the guys that signed today, the guys who signed back early sign period. But it definitely is different. And also, I think just in general, it kind of makes it a little harder, a little tougher because you are having to monitor who's signing early, who's signing late. Oh, that person didn't sign. They might have committed, but they didn't sign. Yeah. Are they going to sign on this date?
And there's only a couple of news drops. And honestly, Lane Kiffin.
And the portal's ruined it.
Yeah. Lane Kiffin and good old Jimbo are all in the news. That's all you're hearing about on this signing day is about paying for recruits through NIL. So, and we're bringing on a good guest to talk about that at 5 o'clock. I'll talk about that in a second. After I tell you, first off, our show is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. We have a lot to get to. We'll open here shortly on the Brian Flores bombshell class action suit that he's filing against the NFL, alleging racism in the hiring process, something that we're accustomed to. We know that it happens, but this is the first time someone's really going after the NFL, and it looks like he has some ground to stand on. From there, we have a bunch to cover. Washington football team has a new name, badly kept secret, the Commanders. I mentioned it yesterday. And, I mean, they had a helicopter last night flying over the facility, and they didn't cover up any of the Commanders' garb in there.
You know Washington can't keep a secret.
They didn't hide it at all. I mean, unbelievable.
The biggest leak machine ever in that town.
Tiger basketball at Cincinnati on Thursday has been postponed and rescheduled for February 15th due to winter weather here and in Cincinnati. All the while with the Tigers, there's a report that has called into question Amani Bates' future with Memphis that has been quickly sort of denied by his father, Elgin. So we'll do our best to sort of sort through all of the news drops, the various reports about Amani Bates. We also have some college basketball in general to get to as well. Texas Tech, Texas was lively. So was Alabama, Auburn, and heck, Ole Miss even got a top 25 win last night. Scratched it out.
They held on by the
LSU.
chinny chin, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Also, Grizzlies are in action tonight on the road in MSG versus the Knicks. As far as our guests are concerned, 3:30, Alex Kuhn from KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids. 4 o'clock.
You know him pretty well, don't you?
Yeah, I know.
You know our 3:30 guest? Okay.
Yeah, I know him. Share the same last name.
Yeah.
4 o'clock, Kevin Sweeney, College Basketball Central. And Sports Illustrated, we'll talk to him about sort of the national picture. He's joining us a little earlier than he normally does. Usually joins us at 5, but we have a good guest at 5. 4:30, Blake Lovell from Blue Ribbon Magazine will join us to talk about the SEC picture in college basketball. 5 o'clock, very excited for this. Carl Reed, who's a former head coach, former football coach in the St. Louis area for Lutheran North, state championship football coach, had 1 year at one of the big private school powers in DeSmet there in St. Louis. Have a lot of familiarity with them. They've had a lot of guys sort of churn out of that school. But he has stepped down from that, and now he's covering college football for CBS Sports and 247 Sports. And he had a very interesting conversation with Lane Kiffin that we have to get to. And then we'll get out at 5:45 with Taco Bell Crunch Time. AutoZone, listen line 901-360-8255. You can also watch us live and message us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. Now, Brian Flores, let's get into it. It sort of dropped while we were on the air yesterday. Brian Flores filing a class action suit 58 pages long against the NFL, the Dolphins, the Broncos, and the Giants. And within the accusations, the allegations, he accuses Dolphins owner Stephen Ross of offering him $100,000 for every loss in an effort to tank for the number 1 draft pick during the 2019 season. There was some collusion there, and Stephen Ross also, if we're being honest, invested in a $17.5 million gambling startup recently. So those could be some ridiculous allegations calling into question the integrity
that was coming
of the
one
game.
of these days.
But calling into question the integrity of the game. And we know tanking's a real thing.
You got the Cleveland Cavaliers owner owning a casino. You knew there was going to be a line crossed, or at least the appearance of, someday, and that's one of many out of this. But I don't think that's the most salacious out of this. But it used to would have been.
And then later, as far as the allegations are concerned, he includes texts that he alleges are from Bill Belichick, demonstrating that the Giants, who he just conducted an interview with, had picked Brian Dable as their coach before even bringing in Brian Flores to interview.
A sham interview.
Basically
a waste of everybody's time.
A Rooney Rule interview, just to get the Rooney Rule sort of fulfilled. And that would be in violation of the Rooney Rule. There's no question about it. If you already had picked out your coach and you just bring him in after.
Direct violation and spirit as well.
Mm-hmm. And before I get into my thoughts, Brian Flores did say this. He says, God has gifted me with a special talent to coach the game of football, but the need for change is bigger than my personal goals. In making the decision to file the class action complaint today, I understand that I may be risking coaching the game I love, and that has done so much for my family and me. My sincere hope is that by standing up against systemic racism in the NFL, others will join me to ensure that positive change is made for generations to come. Brett, I have a lot to say about it, so I'm going to sort of give you the floor really quick, and then I'll get my thoughts off.
I think I'm going to agree with most everything you say, and I don't know what you're getting ready to say, but I think I will. Brian Flores, first of all, to anybody trying to make him out to be some militant, spurned, disgruntled employee, this is the wrong guy to do this to. Very wrong. He still may get hired in the midst of this lawsuit, and I think probably should. The spirit of the Rooney Rule and the aim of it has been lost, and it's been a miscarriage of it. They've lost the intent of it, and now too many people are doing it just because it's really a hindrance before the actual hiring process. And the road to, you know where is paved in good intention. The Rooney Rule had good intentions, but I don't think it's necessary anymore to have that. Have a real hiring practice of a sport largely played by blacks. Have them as a real chance to get some of these jobs.
Mm-hmm. So the Rooney Rule, I agree, it's well intentioned. It's been a sham though. There's no question about it. I do want to point out before I get into my long whole spiel here, the Rooney Rule. There's only one black coach left in the NFL, black head coach, Mike Tomlin.
Down the hall from Mr. Rooney.
Guess who owns the Steelers? The Rooneys. So what does it tell you if the only franchise that's willing to hire a black guy and further that cause are the people that the rule's named after? I mean, it's unbelievable. But here's what I think about Brian Flores. Most of the league is going to support. You've seen players, coaches alike. Hugh Jackson came out saying his time with the
regardless of color, everybody supported.
Cleveland.
This is no lightweight figure,
right? And regardless, you have Hugh Jackson coming out, former Cleveland Browns coach, saying similar things were said to him about tanking. You had Michael Thomas last night saying Brian Flores is about to change the game. He's going to have overwhelming support to get this done. So that's my first thought. And what really bothers me, Brett, is a week ago I came in here, and I thought we were making strides. I really did. There were two GM hires, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah for the Vikings and Ryan Poles for the Bears, both minority hires in the GM ranks. That hasn't happened recently. There was two in a row. I thought we were getting there. But the one thing that I hear a lot of people talk about with Brian Flores and some of the accusations he's made, they say it's surprising. It's not surprising at all.
Not at all.
At all.
I believe most of it. Now, some of the intent, I don't know that I entirely agree with right now. I might when more evidence comes out, but I do agree with the stiff arm is largely because of race.
It's about getting the job in the first place. You have to be perfect as a black coach to get a head coaching job. And then to keep that job, you have to be perfect as well. You look at Jim Caldwell, Marvin Lewis. They deserved another shot. Jim Caldwell won games, got to the playoffs in Detroit.
I think Jim Caldwell did. Marvin Lewis did a really bad job for a really long time.
If Marvin Lewis was a white coach, I would be willing to wager money that he would have gotten another shot elsewhere.
I would too.
He didn't win a playoff game necessarily, but he got to the playoffs with the Cincinnati Bengals, and they had a decent team, but he got there with Andy Dalton, Carson Palmer, the whole thing. He deserved another shot. He was an overall winning coach in the NFL. And in most of those situations, if he was a white candidate, I really do believe he would have gotten another one. Now, also, I look at David Culley and Brian Flores. They were put in non-win situations. David Culley this year,
Culley was mistreated.
That was wrong. That was completely wrong. Culley, of course, he was made to fail. He was a placeholder. They were going to get rid of him. I didn't think the hire was good from the beginning, so I don't want to be a hypocrite on that. But you give him a year, he wins 4 games. What'd you expect out of him? You had Davis Mills as a rookie starting.
I thought that was a pretty good year for them.
Yeah, he was made to fail. And in Flores' case, if the allegations are true about Stephen Ross, he was told to fail. And if he would have failed and would have lost more, my guess is he would have gotten let go quicker.
Now, Gabe, you helped me here with the legality, but I've had some say, I've seen some today say in this throwing games, I think technically if he had listened to the owner and lost intentionally, that would be throwing games.
Yes.
But there's a difference between throwing a game and fixing a game because we don't know right now that there was any monetary value for the fixer, for the thrower, we know Brian Flores wasn't, but not even Stephen Ross. We don't know that right now.
Brian
Flores, but the appearance is very bad.
Brian Flores making these allegations, he has since said also he couldn't do it. He didn't do it. It's not in his DNA, is what he said. He said it's not in his DNA. Now, with the hiring process, I think, Brett, there's conscious and there's unconscious bias and prejudice. Conscious is knowing that this black man is coming in and you don't like his disposition. You didn't give him a chance from the beginning because of the color of his skin. I think that that's less and less, but I still think it does exist in certain walks of life.
Whether it's in hiring or being followed in a department store.
What I think happens in a lot of these situations is unconscious bias. You have owners and front office members that want like-minded people in the room with them. They want hires like them. They want to see themselves in the guy that they're hiring. And what Brian Flores says within this 58-page class action lawsuit, he wants a panel for interviews with some black and minority showing, with some people in there that are doing the evaluations that are black, that are minorities, that are from the same or similar situations as the guys that are being interviewed. And I think that makes a lot of sense. But I think that the root of all this is you need a change in ownership. You need more black men and minority men or women in positions of power within ownership. You need more majority ownership positions owned by minorities.
It's easier to find more general managers and coaches than it is people can cut a $4 billion check for of any race.
I understand.
Of any ethnicity, of any
I understand,
type.
but that's where it comes into me. That's the only way you change it is if the guys conducting these interviews, if the guys that are hiring these coaches are of a different mindset. Because here's where I come with this is it's about relationships. Brian Flores is a black man from Brooklyn, New York, raised by Honduran parents in a tough neighborhood in Brooklyn. That's where he's from. Fought his butt off. Lifetime football player. Football brought him out of the gutter. Football brought him to where he's at. How can he relate to a billionaire Stephen Ross? How can he relate to Jerry Jones, Robert Kraft, Arthur Blank, and other sort of white
I think it would be difficult,
owners?
but I think it'd be difficult for me and you.
To a certain extent, I guess I see where you're coming from. But a guy like Brian Flores, you're talking about in very tough upbringing in Brooklyn, New York. That's not easy for him to go in front of these billionaires and tell them.
The coach has never been a peer of the owner. He's never been. It's never been on the same strata. It's always been owner coach.
Yeah, owner's ahead of coach, but the owner has to approve of said coach. The owner has to make sure that he approves of the coach that's coming in. So the unconscious bias and everything else that's going on.
Back in the day, I mean, how much could, I'm trying to use what's a fair example? How much could Jim Everett really socially be around Tom Benson or Sean Payton the day he was hired with him? Because, he wasn't in that financial, societal ring.
It's a different situation, though. I'm talking about Brian Flores, and I'm going to bring up Eric Bieniemy, too. He hasn't been hired. He's sort of been out there. I mean, like Brian Flores, the difference between a billionaire guy in that type of position and a guy like Brian Flores being raised in Brooklyn by immigrant parents, that's a different thing completely. And they always talk about, well, these guys don't impress in their interviews. That was Eric Bieniemy's big thing. Well, he hasn't impressed in interviews. Who's conducting them? What's the criteria? What's so unimpressive about how he's interviewing? You're talking about lifetime ball players. In Eric Bieniemy's case, lifetime ball player and a coach from L.A. being interviewed by these multi-millionaire and billionaire owners and front office members. I think that there needs to be a process in which we can give these guys a fair shake without being perfect. And I go back to what John Thompson said back in the day, obviously former Georgetown coach. And what he said is black coaches, especially in that day and age, and I don't know how much it's changed, especially when we look at how the NFL is. John Thompson said you had to be perfect as a black coach to get these opportunities.
And they did. And Nolan Richardson was right in there with him, and then Tubby Smith shortly after that. See, I think college is different because I think the college coach has more, he's closer in the realm, in the strata, in the peer group with that AD that's hiring him, and that AD's got the approval of the big money booster than it is on any pro level, whether it's football, basketball, or baseball, with those coaches and that owner, and especially these owners now. I mean, this isn't Papa Bear and the publicly owned Packers. This is not even Lamar Hunt or the patriarch of the Ford family. I mean, these guys are uber super billionaires now.
There's no question about it. And I just, when it comes to the interviewing style and certain guys, owners, front office members not liking some of these, black candidates interviewing style, I think you need to ask these questions to yourself. You need to ask, instead of casting dispersions on how he interviews, ask, does he know his stuff? If the answer
can we
is yes,
win football
yes.
games with
Is he a good coach? If it's yes, it's yes.
If you're worried about taking him to the Chamber of Commerce, I wouldn't worry about that white or black. I want to win football games.
Can he relate to my players and my staff and lead? If the answer is yes, it's yes. I don't really necessarily
I'm not worried about him fitting in my golf foursome.
Exactly.
White or black.
I don't care how he's necessarily interviewing if he checks all the boxes to be a good head coach in the NFL.
I'm with you, Gabe. Very well said. If you're missing football on Thursdays, well, tomorrow night you can still turn every Thursday into payday with NBA on TNT on FanDuel Sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. FanDuel is giving all customers $10 back every Thursday night. Just bet a $10 or more same-game parlay on any NBA on TNT game. Tomorrow night, I love Phoenix. I like Chris Paul, of course, with over the assist. And in the late TNT game, throw that in that same game parlay, Lakers late over the Clippers. So many NBA market options. Player point totals, rebounds, assists, money line, over, under. It's easy to use, easy to register. It's the perfect way to turn a small bet into a big-time score on TNT Thursdays with FanDuel. Get $10 back every Thursday, win or lose, with TNT Thursdays. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up with promo code CASH to enjoy 56-1 odds on either team to win in the Super Bowl. You can turn a $5 bet into $280 cash. That's promo code CASH. Exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway, and appropriately online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. Great offers on all 2022 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence and safety, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway, and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2022 flagship LS500. You'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. Online at lexusofmemphis.com, 901-362-8833. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
It's what we just got done discussing. Brian Flores, class action suit, 58 pages long, against the NFL, the Dolphins, the Broncos, and the Giants. He accuses Dolphins owner Stephen Ross of offering him $100,000 to tank. He has texts saying that the Giants picked Brian Daboll before they even conducted an interview with Brian Flores. When it comes to the Broncos, he said John Elway and the rest of the front office that came to interview him showed up an hour late, and they seemed hungover. So we'll see what happens with this, but this is very interesting because Brian Flores is giving up what really could be a plush life for him as
trailblazer,
coach, defensive
he's
coordinator,
taking
head
the
coach,
arrows, isn't he?
Whatever.
It's Kurt Flood of the 21st century.
Yeah,
what he's doing.
He's basically throwing himself out of the league because we've seen how this has worked in the past. When you stand up against a big old NFL, NFL, though, you are risking. You are sacrificing certain things. You're willing to sacrifice certain things, and I think this is the case. I've mentioned I think most of the league will support their reports that other people have receipts that they're willing to come forward with. So this is the very beginning of what I think will be a long litigation process between Brian Flores and the NFL.
I'm right there with you. My top story, Brian Flores should still be the next coach of the Houston Texans, even with this
Yep,
not very flattering, ongoing legal matter. Let's play it all out and let the truth go where the truth goes. The best disinfectant is the bright light of scrutiny, and he should not drop this class action lawsuit hinged to being hired. He should not do that. I don't think he will either. Will the judge sign off on its class action status first and foremost? We'll see if that happens. But I do wonder this. Why did it take him 3 years from 2019 to now to tell about his owner telling him go out and intentionally lose games?
You know, when it comes to asking about why they came out with it, I understand those questions, but he had a plus job. He had a pretty substantial payday.
That's fair
to lose. Yes, it's fair. It's fair, I think. But there are a lot of reasons that he would keep that behind closed doors.
Sure, and human nature is the biggest one.
Yeah.
Not top story of the day.
Has to do with the Tigers. As far as the basketball team is concerned, there's a whole lot going on that doesn't have to do with playing. I mentioned the Cincy game for Thursday is now postponed. It'll be made up on Tuesday, February 15th. So now it sets up the rest of the schedule for the next couple weeks. Saturday versus UCF. Next Wednesday at Tulane. Next Saturday at Houston. Then at Cincinnati in 2 Tuesdays. So it sort of rules out a possibility of scheduling another non-conference game between February 12th and February 20th in that layoff. So that is what it is. But wow, that's going on. Amani Bates. I mean, I don't know what to make of this. We have conflicting reports. Jason Munns, who joins us on Friday, has totally put to bed the Jake Fisher Bleacher Report that came out.
Screaming headline last night.
And the report was that there will be no Amani Bates on Thursday when the game was still scheduled at Cincinnati. But Jake Fisher from Bleacher Report said that there are questions about his future with the program and that he may look into overtime elite and overseas opportunities. But then CBS Sports how much? 5 minutes later?
Yeah, 5-ish.
CBS Sports, Matt Norlander reported that his intentions are to play again for Memphis as soon as he is cleared because of some back issues he's having or what have you. His dad said he has no clue what the report from Jake Fisher is about. He's been having pain, and we're trying to figure out what's going on. That's what Elgin said about it. But all I can say is this season, Brett, distraction after distraction after distraction. And the question that we will visit later in the show is too much publicity a bad thing? Because this has been an unbelievably distraction-filled season.
Well, that's my not top story. We're simpatico on both top and not today. Always drama, always chaos, always front burner, always treated like a pro team. It is Tiger basketball. It's always something with it. From the controllables, player development, contentment, happiness, playing time, to the uncontrolled, like the weather tomorrow night. That's not anybody's fault. I don't think the virus and the deal up in Nashville was anybody's fault. It's the times we're in. It's happened to a lot of people. Should be good and prepared for Saturday night against UCF, though, at FedEx Forum. And now it makes for 3 really tough games on the road, at Houston, at Cincinnati, at SMU. But there's one common denominator in all this tumult. Coach Hardaway.
I can't dispute that. I can't. It's been a very rough and tumble season with a lot of distractions. I don't know if Penny necessarily asked for them, but they've been coming. There's no question about it. That'll do it for Top and Not Top Story of the day. When we come back on the other side, we bring on Alex Kuhn from KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids. Want to really talk to him about this Brian Flores situation, as well as some things going on with the Senior Bowl. We got some Memphis Tigers there. Memphis Tigers performing really well, too.
Off the top rope with Alex Kuhn. That's what we should name the segment.
Really? That's a good one. That's a good one. We get real Memphis wrestling. We got to talk to Dustin Starr, get a sponsorship for it. What do you think?
Let's do it.
We'll be right back on Sports 56 98.5.
The all-new Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Brought to you by Action 24/7, James Gaddis Jewelers, and Acura of Memphis. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
The global shortage on chicken is finally over, but there are still places that will tell you that it is hard to find, except for our good friends at Poultry Power. Poultry Power is currently delivering chicken in bulk to your home or business at prices lower than your local grocer or food distributor. Having a cookout or catering event? Tired of being told no by other food companies when you need chicken for your restaurant? Poultry Power can save the day. Visit www.poultrypower.org to place your order now. And remember, when others tell you no, Poultry Power has the power to tell you yes.
Tire pressure light on? Tread low? Car sliding when you stop? It's time to go down to Milton on the Spot. Serving you at 3 locations: 1684 Getwell Road, 2127 Ellis Presley, and 3691 North Watkins. Memphis' largest supply of new and used tires, all under warranty. Yes, that's warranty on used tires too. Ask about the tire rotation and balance specials. Milton on the Spot on Getwell Road, Elvis Presley, or North Watkins. Here to take care of your every tire need. Milton on the Spot.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts, boots, and more. Frontier continues to add new items in their women's boutique. Flare jeans and pants are in, and Frontier is fully stocked. There are daily arrivals with thousands of on-trend tops as well, all at amazing prices. And guys, Frontier is your #1 Carhartt store. No one has a larger selection of everyday fits and workwear by Carhartt. Wrangler and Area clothing available too. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled and expanded world-famous boots showroom? Now there are even more dress and work boots in stock. There are over 1,000 pair of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, and Twisted X. Frontier recently added Hey Dude shoes with lots more on the way. As if the selection isn't reason enough, Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores. So when you're ready for your next pair, you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
I've been moving calm, don't start no trouble with me. Trying to keep it peaceful is a struggle for me. Don't pull up at 6 a.m. to cuddle with me. You know how I like it when you loving on me.
Thanks, Drake, for bringing it back on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. Brian, did you see him last night at the Raptors game?
I did. It didn't look like he was having too much fun.
Yeah, and you know his old boo Rihanna is pregnant now with A$AP Rocky.
With A$AP, I didn't even know they were
together.
The
pictures. Yeah, I saw the pictures of Riri.
Yeah. Riri. I wonder how Drake's feeling right now.
Hurt.
You think he's hurt?
I would love it if he's hurt. You know, Drake makes his best music when he's hurt. So maybe it's for the best.
Take care too. Take care too on the way.
Marvin's Room too.
Yes.
I tweeted at Riri one time and was so excited that I thought she had responded back to me, and it was a ghost fraud account.
It was a bot.
That's too bad.
Oh, that's sad.
I showed it to Rob Fisher. Rob started laughing at me. Said, got 117 followers. That ain't right.
It wasn't bad.
I was new to Twitter.
It wasn't bad gal Riri herself.
No.
Okay, that stinks.
Too bad. Yeah.
That stinks, Brett. For your sake, I really wish it was her. I wish it.
It's
tough
out on those Twitter streets, Gabe.
It is, man. It is. Let's go ahead and bring in Alex Kuhn at Alex Kuhn 523 from KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids. Alex, what's happening?
Not a whole lot. About a foot of snow on the ground here.
Oh, how about it?
And we expect a little bit more tonight, but it's yeah. Other than that, everything's great. How are you guys?
We are well. We're about to get some ice tonight. That's kind of a rarity around here. Any type of winter weather. So,
no, that's never a good thing. Are you guys?
Yeah, we're gonna be sheltered in place. Yeah, we're braced. But
I always get worried for y'all when winter weather is on the way, like any type of winter weather.
Last year was
you
real.
Should be.
Last year was real. This ice storm, it'll be a half-inch of ice. But I'm telling you, I looked.
But last year was not inconveniencing. It was no power trouble.
Right. If the power goes out tonight, that would be substantial. But I looked at the forecast for tomorrow. Weather's supposed to be 37, high of 37, low of 25. So I don't know how long.
I'm telling you, Gabe, around here, that's
that
wheelhouse
around.
Because it falls like a spring rain and just gloms onto everything, and that's when the power lines and
right, yeah, and that could be an issue. There's no question about it. I understand.
Well, I'm hoping for the best for you guys.
Did you see me tweet out earlier, Gabe, my top winter storms ever around here, living around here all my life?
Did you rank them? I didn't get to see you rank them.
Yeah, number 1, 1994. Number 2.
Where did last year rank?
What nice. It was record snow.
Snow. I mean,
but not that bad because you weren't without lights and TV and all that. The roads were treacherous for a couple of days, for 4 or 5 days. It was so cold. But no, 1994 in this market, every radio station was so impacted by it, Alex, that for about 3 or 4 to 5 days, you could hit the seek button and it just kept going like you were driving out in Wyoming. Everybody was knocked to smithereens.
Ugh. Yeah, I know that when I saw the temperature drop the way it did during that horrible storm, I mean, honestly, right around this time last year, and it hit the South and Texas and all of that, I just remember thinking, I'm like, oh, you guys, the folks in the Mid-South are not used to that.
Oh,
and
not at all.
I was definitely thinking about you. Wasn't it at least 6+ inches of snow?
Oh, it was, Alex, it was amazing. I was driving to help out Greg Gaston because his car couldn't get out of his driveway. I was driving.
He's
to go,
an old veteran of driving.
I was driving to go help him pick up his wife from the airport because she had been traveling on that day.
Oh.
And the amount of just stranded cars that I saw out there was just, I mean, it was ridiculous. I saw about 10 on the way to the airport. Just left them there. No emergency lights or anything. Just stranded.
I wish I could say that surprises me, but
hey, are they off school? Are they off school there? For the
they
flood?
are.
Okay.
They are probably for tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
Alex, where do you want to go first? You want to go Brian Flores? Or you want to go Jim Harbaugh? Floor is yours.
It's up to you guys. I mean, they kind of tie in a little bit together.
They really do. Great take. They really, really do.
Let's start Brian Flores then. What are your thoughts on that situation? How do you think that this works out for him?
Well, this is think about how amazing of a postseason the NFL has been having. Where, I mean, I was just a few days removed from saying, wow, the NFL, all the changes that they made, all the talk about how people weren't watching the league anymore and whatever reasons that was for, I think the biggest reason was for a time not too long ago, the quality of play had really taken a major hit. And now with the amount of star power at the quarterback position and just, that's the biggest factor. We saw a divisional round, a super wild card weekend, then a championship round as good as any that we had seen in a very long time. The NFL seemed to be smooth sailing. They buried the story about the Washington football team and John Gruden as all the collateral damage that came from that. And they were smooth sailing. And then this Brian Flores story pops up. And quite honestly, it was it surprising? Not even a little bit. We saw the direction that things were heading with this latest round of coaching hires. Nathaniel Hackett, Matt Eberflus, Josh McDaniels, and now Jim Harbaugh. And I know I'm missing Brian Dable. I know I'm missing one. Look, those guys could be very, very well be very good coaches. To me, it's really not about them. It's about the allegations that Brian Flores has put forth. 2 of them that are very important. And I don't know which one's more important, quite honestly, because both of them cut right to the heart of integrity with the NFL. First off, the story about Bill Belichick texting him. And I know there are a lot of conspiracy theories out there. I don't know if he did it on purpose or not, if he was truly a technology malfunction, or if this was Bill Belichick's way of letting one of his former assistant coaches know, hey, they're screwing you. They're telling you one thing, and you have no chance of getting that job. They're you're in contact with the Giants. It's your dream job. You're from New York, Brian Flores, and they have no intention of hiring you. In fact, you're being brought in as a token candidate. Like that's
you're being used.
You're being used. Yes, correct. And you're being used because there's a rule out there that I know is hotly contested. But why is that rule in place? Well, the sad reality of the situation in the NFL is if the Rooney Rule weren't in place, a lot of black coaches wouldn't even get interviewed for jobs. And they would have no incentive whatsoever, clearly, to interview black coaches. Now, where things get interesting is in the class action lawsuit, Brian Flores brings up the fact that several NFL officials have said that they needed to do better. Well, here's proof right here that one of the coaches who turned around the Miami Dolphins, quite frankly, took over a horrific roster and a terrible mess that was left by Adam Gase and the previous regime, and had 2 winning seasons, back-to-back winning seasons for the first time in almost 2 decades. And this is where it gets to the real troubling part, because the way that Stephen Ross is alleged to have conducted himself in Miami, if those allegations are true, I don't know how he can run an NFL team. I don't know how. I just look. You come in and you tell your first-year coach, who is a black head coach, the realities of the situation are he was a black head coach and a defensive-minded head coach. So your first year, you're telling him, "Oh, hey, no, I'm gonna allegedly, I'm gonna give you $100,000 per loss." First off, no, like that's not acceptable. Simply not acceptable for the integrity of the NFL.
Worth more than that.
Yeah, it's just not acceptable. It makes it even less acceptable knowing that this came a year after the Arizona Cardinals hired Steve Wilks, a defensive-minded head coach, and after 1 year, they went 3-13. They got the number 1 overall pick. They decided, oh, we're bringing in Kyler Murray. We need to go with the quote-unquote offensive-minded head coach. So after 1 year, they fired Steve Wilks. A year later, you allegedly had an owner in Miami telling their black defensive-minded head coach, hey, lose every game for us, please. Let's get the number 1 pick. Who was the number 1 pick that year? Joe Burrow, another quarterback. So do you think at any time, if those allegations are true, Brian Flores is thinking to himself, what's going on here? Like, am I being set up?
David Culley style. David Culley style.
David Culley style, Steve Wilks style, which had happened the year before. Well, that's number 1. And then the tampering discussion about how it turns out it's most likely Tom Brady that Stephen Ross wanted him to go see. But once again, another situation where if it comes out that the Dolphins were tampering with Tom Brady, who's going to take the fall for it? Is it going to be Stephen Ross? Absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely not. We know it would be the head coach. So he does everything by the book. He turns around a terrible roster. Yeah, they struggled on the offensive line. They didn't ever get there.
Right.
Tua has been okay. They go start 0-7, then they have another winning season, and he loses his job anyway.
Well,
so it seemed like everywhere along the line, did it ever seem like he was going to get a fair shake? Because he avoided tanking and losing in his first year. He avoided tampering. He played things by the book. And then after all of it, the Miami Dolphins cowardly leaked to the media, he was difficult to work with.
That's where I was going. It's unbelievable. And the thing is, what's especially bothersome to me is you talk about him being paid to possibly lose games. If he loses those games, there's no way he makes it 3 years. There's no chance. He would have been gone immediately.
We fired him because he didn't win. We're about winning.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have to.
Everybody knows that. That's sports.
If you're Brian Flores, not only are you saying, "Wow, well, you guys are going to use this against me," But as a black head coach, the reality of the situation is this may be my only opportunity. So,
right.
Let's say I go 0-16 Hugh Jackson style. Oh, by the way, who has contributed to the conversation today, none other than Grambling head coach Hugh Jackson. Say I go 2-whatever in my 2 years. They fire me and I'm never heard of again, and nobody bats an eyelash.
Yeah, he didn't win, and he didn't develop Tua. Well, first of all, I'm a defensive guy, and you knew that the day you hired me.
Yep. And so he did it the way he did. Everything that he did in 3 years was seemingly the right way to prove a point.
And all right, Alex, how does the NFL cash out? How do they cash Stephen Ross out, Donald Sterling style, and then put that team up? Because that man has to be indemnified for the market rate. Well, let's say for easy math, let's say $2 billion. It's probably more, but let's say $2 billion. I mean, he's got to get his money. You can't do him like that. I mean, that's a kangaroo court if you operate like that. So he has to be indemnified. Then you have to find a new owner that will probably pay above the market like Ballmer did for the Clippers. The NFL is going to come out of this plus.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it an amazing structure, guys?
Oh my gosh!
And it's just so here's the thing though, the NFL, the ball is in their court because this is not just an NFL thing. I'm not going to get too deep here, but we can all agree that this is a societal problem. And the NFL, if Brian Flores, he basically is going to them saying, okay, you guys can either be seen as unaccepting and racist, or you could be heroes, or you could be a shining example of change. Here's your choice, guys. Which choice what are you gonna choose? They're not asking, as I said, they're not asking for every every coach to be black. They're not asking for every general manager to be black.
Just
They're
a fair chance.
Winning still matters. We know you got to win.
A fair shake.
Yeah,
that's it.
But you got to get you got to get to the starting line too.
Yeah, Gabe pointed out there's one black coach in the NFL, a league with 70% where 70% of the athletes are black. And it is with the franchise who
the rule is named after.
Employed, that the rule is named after. He's employed by the Rooneys. You can't make this up.
And here's the other thing: it's like the Rooney Rule is well intentioned. I really do believe that
it was.
But
I don't think any longer practical.
No, it's not practical. It's been a sham. But then the question becomes: what does work? What would work? What would solve these problems? And I don't know of any other way that you could solve them. Decency, yes, but getting people in ownership. You mandate decency? Getting people in ownership and high-ranking front office positions that are either minority or accepting of hiring a minority candidate.
Here's the problem. Look, George McCaskey is the CEO of the Bears, and he did a press conference a few weeks ago prior to them hiring Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus, their general manager and coach. And he, in that press conference, outlined the exact problem and the exact reason why we are in this position right now. In the same press conference, he was asked about Justin Fields and catering to his needs, and he said, well, I'm paraphrasing, but I'm not a football guy. I'm not qualified to answer those questions. Later in that press conference, he was then asked, well, are you going to be interviewing the head coaching and GM candidate? And he said, yes, I will be doing that. I will be heading that up.
Yes.
I'm not a football guy.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be interviewing
but it's
the
mine.
head coach and general
I have
manager.
to approve them, basically.
Yeah. Guys, there's your answer. Until that changes, that dynamic changes, nothing's going to change.
I agree completely. Now, I guess we'll have to get to Jim Harbaugh another day. We'll see if he gets hired by the Vikings, of course, on his Vikings interview today.
He's gone, isn't he?
Yeah, it seems like it, doesn't it?
Yes or no, Alex?
Yes.
He's gone.
Yeah. And also, Calvin Austin and Dylan Parham from Memphis. How do you think they're doing at the Senior Bowl? You think they'll fit in pretty well in the NFL draft? You think they'll both get taken?
First off, I see the noise out there that Calvin Austin is going to run a 4.3.
Heard it here first.
That effortless speed. Heard it right here, right on this station. I heard you guys interview him, and we knew how fast he was. It was just about him going out and proving it to the scouts, and the improvement that he has made over the course of his career. I wasn't sold that he was going to be a true number one type receiver at one point in his career. I thought he's a great number 2 or number 3. He's that kind of that speedy guy.
Yeah.
But he's become a complete player.
Sure has.
He is an absolute football player now, as opposed to just a track athlete, and he is going to make. He could be drafted late day 2 at this point.
And let me tell you, Al,
early day 3.
Dylan Parham doing himself a lot of favors. First time playing center, and I saw some of the film from yesterday. And by the way, Brett, I texted Bo Marchand, and he said he already put good old 5.6 in his notes. He saw him blow up someone earlier today and threw him right in the notes.
And as you have texted, and as y'all both know very well, I mean, this is early stages of playing center.
Yes.
I mean, this is not a finished product whatsoever.
Yeah. But, Alex, we got to get out of here. Appreciate you joining us.
Great stuff, Alex. Have a great rest of the week. Stay warm.
You too. Yeah, we'll try.
You can follow Alex at Alex Kuhn 523. We got to get to a break. We'll come back. We have a couple of NFL notes before we get to the top of the hour break right here on Sports 56 98.5.
You have opinions?
What do you hear? What do you say?
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Mount Moriah Auto Sales. What sets them apart? Great selection, quality, high-end to low-end cars, and low mileage. Mount Moriah Auto Sales is under new management. Ask for Emmett or Steven. Check out their great selection of cars or trucks. Choose from Dodges, Jeeps, Fords, GMCs, Infinitis, Porsches, Range Rovers, Lexus, Mercedes, BMWs, even Bentleys. Mount Moriah Auto Sales also has a great service department with 12 bays for everything from oil changes to alignment to new tires. Go to MountMoriahAutoSales.com. Pick out your like new car or truck today. Mount Moriah Auto Sales, right on the corner and right on the price.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Progressive presents Forced Metaphors about bundling your home and auto.
In sports, 3 goals is a hat trick. And when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, you get a hat trick of great savings and round-the-clock protection. So you might be thinking, wait, that's 2 things. A hat trick is 3. But in this metaphor, great savings counts as 2 goals, and so does round-the-clock protection. So it's like 4 goals, and that's more than 3. It's basic math.
Forced Metaphors. Presented by Progressive. Bundle and protect today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discount not available in all states or situations.
A good friend of mine told me about this awesome place for lunch.
Oh, yeah? What's the name?
Neil's Grill and Bar, where the fat man rocks. Everybody knows Neil.
Where's it located?
It's located in Yorkshire Square off of Quince.
And what's it like?
The best lunch place in Memphis. You know, like real mashed potatoes and gravy. Everything is made from scratch. Monday through Friday, daily lunch specials like Monday baked chicken, Italian Tuesday, spaghetti, ravioli, Italian spinach, delicious fried catfish, fried chicken livers every Wednesday, Friday, Salisbury steak, barbecue chicken, or if you just want a vegetable plate, the best veggies in town.
What about the lunch price?
Meat and 2 veggies, $7.95. Meat and 3 veggies, $9.99. And veggie plate, $8.95. Big fat boy portions, man.
Man, you're making me hungry.
Come hear the best live local music at Neil's. Eddie Smith plays Sundays 5 to 9. Mondays karaoke. Tuesdays Debbie Jameson. Wednesdays Elmo and the Shades. Thursdays John Williams and the A440 Band at Neil's.
Where the fat man rocks.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
All right, so the Washington football team has a new name. They're the Washington Commanders. And I just find the whole process.
You know that's President Biden's dog's name.
I understand.
Commander.
That. I just find the whole process hilarious of how they said they're going to change the name. They took a year. They made a reality show that they put on YouTube called Making the Brand. And then the week before they're supposed to release the name, Joe Theismann comes out and says it's going to be Commanders.
Leaks it.
And then the night before, 7 News in D.C. flies a helicopter over and sees that it's
because they're
clearly
on your side. 7 News in
Commanders.
D.C. You know, watching out for the Del Marva.
I just find it hilarious. What do you think about the name, though? You like it? Not really? Not
Doesn't do
particularly?
anything. I mean,
Red Wolves, Red Hogs. Would that have done?
Guardians, Titans, all of those are at it. You know, just the marketing property wings of sports, and they've test marketed it. You want to hope they test marketed it at least, but you know, I've gotten used since 2010 when I just started referring to when I was talking NFL and that team. I just called them Washington. I've gotten used to that. And
am I the only one that's not like really been out of shape by Commanders? I know Washington fans hate it. I know Washington fans hate it. I don't mind it.
I'm nonplussed. I mean, I'm
not impressed. I mean, I didn't expect to be impressed though. I've never been impressed by anything really.
It's unsweet tea
franchise.
to me. It's sugar-free Jell-O. I mean, it means nothing to me.
The Commanders, the Washington Commanders. We're gonna have to get used to it. They did release their jersey
hype video,
their jersey, their new emblem, and everything.
You let Matt Corral get drafted by him and put on a number 2, and I'm Mr. Commander.
Your Commanders, they'll be your Commanders.
You know they will be.
Also, yesterday, outside, I mean, it's just crazy because the Brian Flores news is eclipsing the sun right this second. But Jimmy Garoppolo yesterday had his
let's go to a winner
end of the year presser, and he has. And I do appreciate. I think Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have handled this really well. They have made it very clear that their plan is to trade him this offseason and move forward with Trey Lance.
It's really a nice way to say hit the bricks.
Yeah, but Jimmy G says that he wants to be traded to a winner. So who is that? Who is that? Pittsburgh?
Tell me the one fan base out there going, you know what? The answer to our 2022 problems.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy GQ. Not one.
I guess the landing spots that make sense, though, Pittsburgh, Washington, New
In Pittsburgh,
Orleans.
you know what their fans are saying? We went from number 7 to Jimmy G.
To be fair, Jimmy Garoppolo might still be better than Big Ben was these past 2 years. Close. I mean,
and what about in Green Bay?
He's got more. In
Those
the
fans would have to think, what did we do to the football gods to go from Aaron Rodgers to Garoppolo?
Well, what about in Tampa Bay? They're about to move on. They're about to move on from TB12. And I looked at the odds. This is hilarious. I looked at the odds.
TB12 to JG10.
No, it's not even JG. He's not even the favorite. You know who the favorite is?
For Tampa?
Yeah, to be the next quarterback for Week 1 next year. Teddy Two Gloves going from TB12 to
TB5.
Oh, I don't wish that on my worst enemy. That'd be horrible.
I don't know what the question is, but Ted Bridgewater's not the answer.
Could Jimmy G be the answer?
No,
he was the heir apparent to Tom.
I said
Tom Brady
2 years ago.
David,
I got into it over him. I said he's Rex Grossman. And first texter, big 49er fan, you wouldn't say that about an SEC guy. I said, I just said it about Rex Grossman. He went to Florida.
Oh, gosh. You know what? I think Jimmy Garoppolo's fine, but he can never stay healthy. Even in the playoffs this year, he was just bumped
Can't make
and
the
bruised
big
up.
throws win healthy, Gabe.
Yeah.
You don't trust him with that deep middle throw, do you? Come on, Gabe, even with good protection.
I don't trust him. Like, I've seen him in big games. Which is bizarre to me. I mean, he's been in a Super Bowl, just got to the NFC Championship.
Almost Forrest Gumpian.
So
what he's been in.
somehow he's gotten there. But
I mean, is he Moon the president?
But here's the other thing, Brett. He's never the reason they're in those games.
Never the reason. But always the reason they don't win them.
Yes, that's a very good point. That'll do it for hour number 1. Hour number 2, we're going to have college basketball all over the place. Kevin Sweeney at 4 o'clock. From College Basketball Central and Sports Illustrated. We'll talk national with him. 4:30, we'll talk with Blake Lovell from Blue Ribbon Magazine on the SEC. We'll be right back on Sports 56 98.5.
Say there was a place, the perfect place for everything you need for tailgates and patios, grills and chairs, charcoal and coolers, everything to make a great game or a great day. That perfect place wouldn't be a warehouse. It's East Memphis Ace Hardware. Locally owned and operated at Quince and White Station, East Memphis Ace Hardware is where you'll find Benjamin Moore paints, local plants from local growers, and Black & Decker tools. Around the block, what you need in stock with people who know their tailgates. Welcome to East Memphis Ace Hardware, the home convenience store.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
At Progressive, we know there's nothing like the feeling of riding a motorcycle with your crew on the open road. It's a primal, wild freedom, a feeling that would be impossible to recreate on the radio. Until now. Hit it, sound effects guy! No. We really lost our stride at the end there. Get 24/7 roadside assistance with Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Roadside assistance subject to policy terms and limits and may require comprehensive coverage.
It's been said that the world always looks brighter from behind a smile. So why not let my friend, Dr. Mehdi Sadeghi, and his friendly staff at the Smile Center Memphis help brighten up your world. The Smile Center is a local family dentistry located in Germantown, specializing in cosmetic crown veneers, teeth whitening, and Invisalign clear braces, all with free consultation and second opinions. New patients are welcome, and if you don't have dental insurance, don't frown. They have an in-office plan to fit your specific needs. Same-day emergency service available as well. Give Mehdi a call, 309-1333, or visit their website at smilecentermemphis.com.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Brett, you're going to love this. At the text line 901-360-8255, our man Vinny texts in, and he says he knows exactly who's going to be the replacement for TB12. Kyle Trask. He says Kyle Trask is ready to take
That's perfect.
Be the heir apparent. Gotta love it. You gotta love it. Welcome in to hour number 2 of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Last night in college basketball, a whole bunch of stuff going on. Ole Miss gets a top 25 win. Texas versus Texas Tech was fun. It was very fun. Texas Tech.
Bad grammar alert. Bad grammar alert. All my English teachers would be very disappointed in me. It done got ugly between Texas and Texas Tech, hadn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, Texas Tech came out on top, though, 77-64. And the F. Chris Beard chants were chef's kiss.
Oh, it was. And there's a lot in there. Most of it is the antipathy at him. But I said it on the day the news broke, Texas and Oklahoma basketball will catch more, looping around the Big 12 before they land in SEC than anybody because they're right there on top of you. Football, you're a little guarded from it. And you don't have to go every year either.
I loved that atmosphere, though, watching it on TV last night. That was a fun game to watch, even though by
Best
the end, Texas Tech.
of the year.
Yeah. Even though by the end, Texas Tech took off.
Yeah.
Unlike the atmosphere right now in Columbia with nobody there, but a great game with Mizzou and Florida going on.
Great game.
Yeah, Mizzou's arena is not all that great. Got to be honest with you. It's all right. It's not.
Remind me
older.
to tell you a great story about it. It sets up on that hill from the football stadium,
right there, right next to it.
And I got apart from our group and almost got left.
Mm-hmm.
And
finally, it's just like a big box too.
Yeah, they said meet us at the basketball arena.
Looks like
I
a
said,
school.
I don't know where it is.
It looks like a school building. I mean, it doesn't look any different than
it was way up there on that hill too.
Yeah, than some type of assembly hall. But we'll go ahead and we'll bring in our good friend, Kevin Sweeney from College Basketball Central and Sports Illustrated at CBB_Central. To talk
39
about all of it.
days
Kevin,
until Selection Sunday, Kevin. 39 days. Are you ready?
I'm as ready as I can be. Very excited. Appreciate you guys having me on as always.
Of course.
Kevin, give me a grade to date for this college basketball season by you.
Whew, that's a tough question.
It is.
Probably a B+. It's been really entertaining. Got some great atmospheres. Maybe no elite team. Still think we're waiting for that true, amazing moment. But we've had some really darn good ones. I give it a B+.
And we're into the home stretch that the grade can go from B+ to A really easily.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Now, last night I watched Auburn just hammer Alabama. That was interesting. And Alabama's been a very interesting
Bruce Pearl
team
thinks
to
he
follow.
won the Iron Bowl too. That's cute, isn't it?
I'm curious what you think about the SEC at the top of the SEC. I know how the head-to-head matchup went between Auburn and Kentucky, but who do you think's the better team?
I think I lean ever so slightly towards Auburn. Right. I think if it's a tie, the tie's going to go to the team that won the head-to-head game.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll lean towards Auburn right now. I still think, with their front court being as dynamic as it is, and you saw Wendell Green have a big game last night, which is big for them. Like, when their guards play well, I think it's going to be really hard to beat them. But I'll tell you what, Kentucky was really, really impressive at Allen Fieldhouse this past weekend. And, I think when they're fully healthy and, could bring back Shaden Sharp, or bring in Shaden Sharp, I guess, any day now, this thing could be really, really special at Kentucky if they can put all these pieces together. It seems like they're starting to.
Kentucky and Auburn feels like they're on a collision course for two more meetings in Tampa at the SEC tournament, and somewhere with really big stakes and maybe net cutting as part of it in the NCAA tournament. Kevin,
absolutely. I mean, and I don't think there's any love lost after the first game when Oscar Tshiebwe said, we think we're the better team. We think we should have won the game. We think we would have won it if not for our injuries. I guarantee that the sparks will fly come March if these two teams play each other in conference tournament time.
What's the situation? How did Bob Huggins let Oscar Tshiebwe go? How did that all happen?
It's very complex. I think it's a situation where there was an overly involved handler for Oscar, and I think as his role, Tshiebwe was not even playing the 5. Like, he was playing the 4 next to Derek Culver, who's like a kind of true low-post scorer for West Virginia. And obviously, I think if you look back, it's probably a mistake. Culver wasn't super efficient. But, Culver and Tshiebwe were kind of splitting minutes. They were never going to be great together. And Huggins chose Culver and was kind of annoyed with some of the antics off the court from Tshiebwe. And I think credit to Oscar, he's really bought in John Calipari. Because, look, I heard stuff over the summer about how maybe Tshiebwe wasn't fully bought in. Maybe they were going to bring in someone to usurp him at the starting center position. Kofi Coburn was obviously the rumor at one point, and so a lot of that was tied to the fact that there was not a ton of confidence at one point in Oscar Tshiebwe. And Oscar has proved that wrong, and him and Cal seem to mended any fences that needed to be mended, and he has become a National Player of the Year candidate because he can be dominant when he wants to be, and he has wanted to be dominant in most games this season.
Nationally, we got some other teams on a collision course. They won't meet in a conference tournament because they're not in the same conference. But it just feels like somewhere out there, probably either to punch a ticket to go to New Orleans or in New Orleans, either the first game on Saturday afternoon or the second game in primetime, Gonzaga and UCLA are going to run into each other again.
Yeah, it feels like they are, and I will say this. Gonzaga, when they played UCLA, looked great. They looked amazing. I was at that game. They were not the Gonzaga. They were not facing the UCLA that UCLA expects to be in March because they didn't have Cody Riley. And Cody Riley was so important. If you think back to that game last April, so much of their offense ran through post touches for Riley and then distributing out to their shooters who could then attack off the bouncer or hit outside shots. And I think without Riley, it really stunted the UCLA offense. And, look, I still think Gonzaga's a better team, but UCLA is playing great basketball the last week or so and coming up with that rematch against Arizona tomorrow. That should be a lot of fun and very revealing for the Pac-12 race.
And also with Gonzaga, you normally talk about the West Coast Conference being relatively weak, and they just sort of run through it, and they still will run through it. It's Gonzaga versus a lot of schools that don't have the same sort of program that they've built. But the West Coast Conference has some players in it. How many bids do you expect to come out of that conference?
Right now, 4. I do think San Francisco, BYU, and St. Mary's all get in. San Francisco probably is the most shaky of the 3 bubble teams because they've lost at home to BYU and St. Mary's. They really were in position to win both those games. They led by 17 against St. Mary's and just couldn't finish the job. Blew a late lead against BYU. They're really talented. They look the part. They just haven't gotten the win. So they're going to have to do a little bit of work on the road down the stretch in February because otherwise I think some of these high major teams will pass them. But right now, if the season ends today, San Francisco will be in the field. And they're a very good team. They had a great point guard, Jabari Bouye, excellent coach, young coach, and Todd Golden. I think there's legitimately 4 NCAA tournament caliber teams in the WCC and another 4 probably in the Mountain West, which makes it fun. I mean, there's probably 4 bids from the Pac-12, 4 bids from the WCC, and 4 from the Mountain West out west. So it's a nice battle for West Coast superiority.
Yeah, Kevin, right now for me, it's a lot of maybe even paralysis with all the analysis, with all the bracketology and the moving parts. One, I see, and I see it from friends of mine, people I really like that do this, and they want to be right. They're not trying to dig at anybody. They want to nail their bracket. Just no way I'll ever believe Belmont is an at-large team before Arkansas is. And I know the Hofstra loss was really ugly for Arkansas in North Little Rock. Not at Bud Walton Arena, but de facto home game, tantamount to one for sure. But I just can't believe that selection committee would have Belmont in that bracket before Arkansas.
I don't think eventually they will. I think the challenge, again, and I do these bracketologies once a week, and I know people who are far more invested in it than I am, quite frankly. What's challenging is today, Belmont and Arkansas's resumes aren't that far apart. But, Arkansas gets another month of playing against SEC teams and theoretically only helping their resume. It's hard to hurt your resume in the SEC. Maybe you lose to Georgia, maybe you lose to Missouri like Florida might do right now. We'll see if they can survive, right? Like, those are the only ways you can hurt your resume. Belmont loses another game, unless it's to Murray State, it's going to hurt their resume. And, at some point it's just going to stack up and they're going to fall out. That's why I don't necessarily believe they're not a large team. But I think particularly in the net era where the primary analytic and primary sorting tool that the committee uses is a somewhat predictive measure that, quite frankly, is relatively based upon how good you are at blowing teams out. There's room for mid-majors like Belmont who are really efficient, who put up 25, 30-point wins a lot of times against really bad teams to climb the ladder in these at-large mixes. So Belmont not out of it, but I think as you get towards March 15th, it becomes harder and harder as SEC teams and Big Ten teams continue to build their resumes.
Yeah, and Brett mentioned Arkansas. Arkansas was the team that LSU started this sort of skid they've been on. They've lost 5 of 6, including last night to Ole Miss at home. 76-72. What do you think about LSU? Are they going to be able to sort of stick around in this thing, or do you think that the sort of late struggles are something we'll see the rest of the season?
Well, I think they really miss Xavier Pinson, right? I mean, they built their team in the preseason around having 2 guards who could create shots in Pinson and Adam Miller. Miller goes down preseason with ACL, and then Pinson has been banged up, I think, as a sprained knee. They're hopeful they're going to have him back relatively soon, but without him, their offense is just not functional. They don't have a shot creator. They don't have someone who can go off the bounce and make shots. I think you've seen, in their recent losses that's been the biggest issue. They're really good defensively. They're long. They're athletic. They're monstrous at the rim. I mean, it's just really hard to score on them, in the paint. But at some point, you have to be able to put the ball in the basket. You need guards who can make plays. They don't really have that right now without Xavier Pinson. So until he gets healthy, I think LSU is going to continue to struggle. And again, the question is, they did a lot of work early in the non-conference. They had the win over Kentucky early in SEC play, the win over Tennessee early in SEC play. How much can those boost their seed come March? We'll see. But I don't think it's going to get easier. The only thing that helps is that their schedule is a little bit more manageable coming up than it's been the last couple of weeks.
Kevin, every year there's some guard play that a lot of us don't know about around college basketball, and it always, comes to the top come NCAA tournament time. Last year it happened with Oral Roberts. You go back, 8 years ago, Napier and Boatwright with UConn. There's always that guard duo that emerges as top flight. What's a guard duo out there right now people may not know about that they need to keep an eye on between now and their bracket being in their lap?
I love it. At the high major level, the kids at Illinois, Trent Frazier and Alfonso Plummer, and I'll add Andre Curbelo into that as well. He was, the hyped preseason point guard who has struggled and been dealt with a ton of injuries, at a concussion, coming off COVID now. But Plummer and Frazier have elevated this team, and they're capable of going nuclear from three. I mean, they are big time shot makers. They're clutch. They had 12 threes combining against Arizona when I saw them down in Champaign in December. They've made big shots in every single game they played. And those are the type of dudes that can carry you in March, to go along with obviously a star big man in Coburn. And then at the mid-major level, I mentioned San Francisco a little bit earlier. Their point guard, Jamari Bouye, is awesome. He's a fifth-year kid. I talked to his former head coach, Kyle Smith, who recruited him. Holy cow. I mean, he was going to go to Fresno Pacific, and a Division II school in San Francisco, got a call from his mom. Like, look, you got to take this kid out. He's going to commit to Fresno Pacific. And Kyle Smith, the head coach at the time, said, well, I missed on Duncan Robinson when I was at Columbia. I can't do that again. And he missed it, and so he offered Jamari Bouye, and now Jamari Bouye is a fringe NBA player. He's explosive as a point guard. He's great in the ball screen. He's super, super skilled. He makes tough shots. He's the type of guy who can win you a game or two in March.
Yeah, and didn't you just kind of describe him like the guys from Oral Roberts last year?
Absolutely. I mean, he's even a little bit bigger than those guys, not quite as quick, but he is highly skilled. Just a tremendous shot maker. And they're a better team than Oral Roberts was.
Yeah.
But absolutely. I mean, if you're a mid-major team, you're trying to make a run, you need a guard who can go. And Jabari Bouye is a guy who can just go.
Mm-hmm. And when you're looking around the country at front courts, the one that just jumps off the page to me, and we got to see him last night, Walker Kessler and Jabari Smith. How good are those guys, and where do you think they rank when it comes to front courts in college basketball?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably them, and then the Chet Holmgren Drew Timme duo is 1 and 2 in some form or fashion. I think what makes the Auburn duo unique is that they play off of each other so well. I mean, Kessler is the best shot blocker in the country. He shoots 74% on 2-point field goals, right? He is a rim enforcer. And then Smith is 6'10". He can shoot over anyone. He can block shots. He can handle the ball in transition. He can switch on defense. That's an awesome pairing, kind of the ideal modern pairing in college basketball, to have that inside presence, but also a guy who can really stretch the floor.
No question about it. Now, last night, Texas versus Texas Tech. And Brett brought up last year's Oral Roberts team, and last night, Kevin O'Banner just absolutely snapped. I think he was 5 for 7 from 3. At this point, I know I texted Brett about this last night. I'm in love with Texas Tech. They're hard-nosed, 40 minutes of hell. They make it very uncomfortable on the other team. And offensively, I think they have enough.
Coaching lifer.
Is there any way that you can sort of talk me out of that? I mean, what do you think about Texas Tech?
I really like them. I mean, I think the only thing that holds me back with them is they don't necessarily have a true point guard, right? I mean, they let Kevin McCullough handle the ball a lot. He's kind of a 6'7" wing, glue guy originally, and has developed into a lead ball handler. But he's not a point guard by trade, and I think that hurts you in big moments in March. But they're long, they're athletic, they really guard you. The kid Adonis Arms that they brought in from Winthrop, this kid came off the bench at Winthrop last year and is now a starter on a top 15 team and has been awesome for them. And then obviously the front court with O'Banner and Bryson Williams. They're tough. They're physical. I really, really like this team. And I think the thing that was striking to me watching them against Texas, all the hype in the preseason from myself and others, was Texas is so talented. I've got all these guys who were, stars at high major teams. I thought Texas Tech was just as talented as Texas. It didn't look like a talent gap. It didn't feel like an upset watching it. It was like Texas Tech just flat, as athletic and better coached last night. I was really impressed.
Do you know? I don't know that we can imagine. I don't think we can properly take it all in. How much glee, pride, up years Texas Tech would take in one shiny moment, cutting the nets down in New Orleans. When I said it yesterday, Chris Beard left there and went to Texas because he can win a national championship at UT. He can at Texas Tech. Kevin, I've been around Texas Tech fans a lot in my life. At football, Old Southwest Conference, I never knew they had this in them. Boy, they are really agitated.
Man, they are ever. I mean, it's unbelievable. I think a lot of it goes beyond basketball, right? It's, the city school, the name brand, the flashy school, stealing the gritty West Texas tough schools coach, and the guy who said he was the West Texas guy and didn't ever want to leave, leaving to go back to Austin. It's, it felt like Chris Beard was their adopted son, and he left to go back home, and that hurts, and they'll never heal from it. But the one way that they will feel good about their future is the fact that they have Mark Adams, and they love Mark Adams. He is truly the native son, truly the West Texas guy, and
has had every crummy job in the athletics department at Texas Tech.
Unbelievable. Yes, and everywhere else, Wayland Baptist and Howard
Texas
College,
Pan American,
you name it in the state of Texas. He has been there in some form or fashion.
So
I mean, he's driven the bus, he's washed the jocks.
Right.
Absolutely.
So the thing I noticed that with Texas Tech too is the amount of transfers they have from lower division schools and what they've done in recruiting there and how Mark Adams has assembled that team. In this day and age of college basketball, is that where you find more value as opposed to what Penny Hardaway has done here with 5-star recruits, maybe reclassifying? Do you think that the value going forward in college basketball is in some of these lower division transfers?
I think it's kind of dependent on where you are, right? Like I think Auburn obviously gets the freshman in Jabari Smith and then adds them to transfers in Walker Kessler, Katie Johnson, Wendell Green, and guys that they developed over multiple years like Alan Flanagan, Jalen Williams. Like to me, that's the recipe, is to mix it all, right? To get an elite freshman, to get an older kid, to get some guys you bring in your program so the culture doesn't shift. I don't think Texas Tech wants to be on the roster, every year and get 10 new guys. It's hard to win. But absolutely there's value if you're really good at scouting, right? If you can evaluate and you don't sit around in mid-March and say, oh, well, every other school seems to be recruiting this mid-major kid, we should go get him too, then you can be really good. Because quite frankly, there's a lot of misses with these mid-major guys. There are a lot of guys who come up that it's very obvious to me when I see them commit. Like, I've watched that kid play. There is no chance he's going to be a good player at the high major level. And it's just so obvious if you watched enough, but sometimes the hype takes off with certain kids and doesn't with others. And but Texas Tech did a great job. I mean, look, I mentioned Adonis Arms earlier. Adonis Arms was not a hyped transfer. Right. Adonis Arms went to the portal. Texas Tech was one of the only high majors looking at him. They go and get him. Now he's a stud. Now he might be a second-round draft pick. I mean, it's unbelievable the job that they have done. So, yeah, absolutely. It's a hodgepodge of a roster, but I think you have to be willing to go every avenue. And right now Texas Tech is, and they built a really good roster from it.
And Kevin, Texas Tech's roster construction and their success contrasts so diametrically to here, and now with the Amani Bates news.
Yes, no, without a doubt. And look, I mean, I have no idea what Amani Bates is thinking. I'm not sure anyone does other than Amani Bates, quite frankly. I don't even know if Amani Bates knows what Amani Bates is thinking right now, quite frankly. But look, I think the lesson to be learned is that Texas Tech has a group of kids that are 1,000% bought in to who Mark Adams is. And they were bought in the recruiting process, and they were bought in not because of a flashy facility or not because of NBA promises, but because they wanted to work. And I think at points, under Penny, Memphis has had guys that have wanted to work. And this year's team, it does not feel like they have guys that want to work. It does not feel like they have guys that are bought in to a vision other than a vision of being a superstar in the media and getting Twitter followers. And, all of that. And, until they wipe the slate clean and get some kids in that want to work, I think it's going to be hard to do much in Memphis right now.
Yeah, but part of the selling point has been I can get you to the next level. You can be a one-and-done guy, so we'll see how it is going forward. I know Penny Hardaway said he wants to attack the transfer portal, and we've seen it work with Mark Adams. We've seen it work around the country, so we'll see if he can do that this offseason. Always appreciate it, Kevin. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Kevin Sweeney with us every week from Sports Illustrated, and very, very well said. At Belly Acres, the motto is City-Fied Farm Fresh. The goal, it's simple, provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the entire family, and they've accomplished it at 2 great locations and a third one on the way. Right now in Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. Coming late spring, early summer. Let the weather and construction be nice to us. Another one coming to Silo Square. Signature burgers from 100% grass-fed beef, sandwiches, salads, everything fresh, and the best milkshakes anywhere. Don't think for a second milkshakes are just a summertime delicacy. Go have a good cold milkshake right now. On a cold, getting ready to be icy day. The burger's so good, like the Dairy or the Double Dairy, the melt in your mouth, and you must try the Voodoo Moo Moo. It's all very good, all very fresh. The quality brand, the Belly Acres team, they've developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings right here in a fun farm setting in the city. The goal at Belly Acres to become even more sustainable as they grow, and indeed they have, and they will. 2 great locations now at Regalia and off Poplar and in Overton Square, and coming soon to Silo Square, late spring, early summer. The very best quality available in Memphis, in our area. It's at Belly Acres. Burgers, shakes, and smiles at Belly Acres.
So we have a final in Columbia, 66-65 Florida,
Great
and it
game.
looks like Mizzou fouled down the stretch, sent Tyree Appleby to the line, and he won it on free throws. That's a tough scene.
No crowd there today because of the weather. And how about the Florida guy leaving the court doing the chop? Who are you doing it to?
Well, just do it for himself,
I got you. Okay.
So caught up in the excitement.
Well, we got to get to a break. When we come back, we'll bring on Blake Level to talk some SEC basketball.
Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio, presented by Tito's Vodka, from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Tire pressure light on? Tread low? Car sliding when you stop? It's time to go down to Milton on the Spot. Serving you at 3 locations: 1684 Getwell Road, 2127 Ellis Presley, and 3691 North Watkins. Memphis' largest supply of new and used tires, all under warranty. Yes, that's warranty on used tires too. Ask about the tire rotation and balance specials. Milton on the Spot on Getwell Road, Elvis Presley, or North Watkins. Here to take care of your every tire need. Milton on the Spot.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand bottled, taste tested, sent to a few friends, then taste tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com.
Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Brett, you'd be disappointed in me. I gave in. I played Wordle.
No, not the Wordle.
Yes.
Wordle the past 2 days.
Good for you, Gabe.
Gabe.
If I start posting it on Twitter, though.
That's the line. We draw the line.
Immediately,
I got a buddy of mine
phone number.
I got a buddy of mine that says
Twitter. Get me off.
He's blocking it. He said if you put your Wordle up there, he's blocking you.
Well, you know,
it's not that serious.
Our friends Drew Barrett and Jay Morgan, they both post their Wordles every day on Twitter. So you might need to talk to them.
Guys, know what it's time
posters.
For? You know what it's time for? We need a group chat. We need to send each other.
Just send them. Me and Jay Morgan, we send our Wordles to each other. Yeah.
I don't know where to find the Wordle.
Just type in.
Just on the internet.
Type in Wordle. And Brett, no need to put the in front of it.
It's not. Just Wordle.
I don't know. There's always that crutch. You always put the ahead of it. Yeah. Now let's go ahead and bring in Blake Level from Blue Ribbon Magazine, talking SEC basketball. Blake, how are you?
Doing well, guys. Good to talk to you as always.
Good to talk to you. You're not into Wordle, are you? Have you gotten into the Wordle?
To be honest with you guys, I have
no
idea what Wordle is.
Wow!
I didn't until last week, Blake.
What?
Not a clue. That's how much
gosh.
Basketball I watch. Not a clue.
It's sweeping the nation. It's sweeping the nation.
It has swept the nation, Blake. I mean, we got left behind once again, Blake. I mean, we're just out here grinding away trying to watch hoops, mind our own business.
Nose to the grindstone.
February. I don't have time for Wordle. It's February. Come on, we sleep in May, right? So
that's we sleep in May. We do Wordle. Never is when we do it. Last night, Bruce Pearl, and I jokingly last segment said somebody needs to tell him that he didn't win the Iron Bowl, but he's doing what we need done in the SEC. He's being provocative. We need showmen.
Yeah, I mean, he's done it from the start, and even when he, had his first couple teams there, I guess, that weren't great, he was still finding ways to bump some things up, like just make it more interesting, make it more talked about. And, it's just kind of one of those things you need more of, especially in this league. I mean, it's just, look, you're always going to be fighting the issue of, it's not an issue, but you're just always going to be fighting the battle of football. Like, it's just always going to be,
right.
Yeah, it's the way it is. And you got to do what you can, and I like how he goes about it. I mean, it's not for everyone, and I'm sure it's not going to be for people that Auburn's beating, but at the same time, I think it's good for the league. Just have more interaction, have more, interest in those kind of things, and guess what? When you win too, I was going to say, when you win too, it takes care of itself. So,
Blake, it was one of the most amazing things ever, and I really liked him a lot. I like him a lot as a person. But Mark Gottfried, nobody knew the shadow cast by football more than Mark Gottfried, having played there, grown up in the state of Alabama, knowing it. And then he comes back and was always kind of grousing about, football gets this. Wimp Sanderson used to do it, and he had the same upbringing. I don't fight it.
Yeah, no, it is what it is. I think if you come in, expecting it to change, it's you're going to be greatly disappointed. I think you just have to embrace what you can do, knowing that. I mean, now it's a little bit different, I suppose, but there is a little bit less pressure, and we talked about it. I mean, it's like you don't have to handle that amount of pressure when it comes to what you're dealing with in football, but still, now that the SEC's kind of raised its profile in basketball, that pressure is increasing for a lot of different coaches. So,
and I've asked this question. I'm very curious. Following SEC basketball the way you do. And I know how the head-to-head went. I understand that. I will continue to say that. Auburn, of course, beating Kentucky in their own place. Who do you think, though, when it's all said and done, who do you think really is the better team?
My opinion on this has changed a little bit, and it's changed in the favor of Auburn. I think that when I watch these teams play, I've said this to a lot of people the past couple of weeks, but I still think they're two of the three best teams in the country, and pick your other one, whether that's Gonzaga, whether it's whoever. Take your pick. I haven't seen three other teams better than them this season, and I think the reason for Auburn is Kentucky's got Oscar Tshiebwe and Ty Washington and all those guys that kind of play well around them, but Auburn's got Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler and all those guys that play well around them, and I think right now Jabari Smith is. Let's say it this way. Let's put it this way. Oscar Tshiebwe is the best player in the league. He'll be the player of the year. Jabari Smith's the best NBA draft prospect in the country. I think Walker Kessler might be the most impactful player, and define it however you want, in the SEC. Because when I watched that game last night, there are things that he didn't do on the stat sheet. And, oh, by the way, he still filled it in about 3 different areas with points, rebounds, and blocks. He does so many things on every single possession. I mean, he is just a very unique talent. Of course, when you're 7 foot and can affect the game the way that he can, it's pretty remarkable. And I think that's where, to me, if Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler are on the floor at the same time and they're playing 25-plus minutes a game, 28-plus, I don't know who beats them. And I think that goes for Kentucky, to be honest with you. So
yeah, and for Walker Kessler, how he passes out of the high post, he really can do it all.
Yeah, he can do everything, and I think that's the thing about him is I really, we looked at him coming into the season. We knew he was going to be able to block shots, and we knew he'd be able to, make some shots. But I just think it's like, again, you watched last night, Alabama's going in, and even if he doesn't block a shot, he's just, because he's there, I mean, it's just Alabama's shot becomes so much tougher, and I just think that it is pretty incredible what he can do. And again, I certainly Oscar Tshiebwe is unlike any player I've seen in a while. For Jabari Smith, the talent is there. Man, I just keep looking at Walker Kessler, and I'm like, when that guy's on the floor, it's something. So,
and they are certainly Walker Kessler and Jabari Smith a top 3, top 2 front court in the country. But the other thing that sort of jumps off the page. To me about that Auburn team, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, it just seems like they're so deep. I don't think they're ridiculously talented in the backcourt, but they're incredibly deep in the backcourt.
Yeah, I mean, and it's because, Wendell Green, I think, this year's kind of been probably not getting enough credit for what he's done. Of course, he was huge last night, but he's been pretty consistent. He may take a jump shot here or there that makes you scratch your head, but you know what? So did Jared Harper and Bryce Brown when those guys were there, and it turned out fine for them. And that's just kind of what you get. You get a lot of freedom in Bruce Pearl's offense, and especially when you're a guy like that who can run the point and do those kind of things. And then, of course, K.D. Johnson gets a lot more attention just because he's a lot more, emotional, and he's just, the enthusiasm. It's incredible. So Auburn's a very again, I think they're a very well-rounded team, and when you compare them to Kentucky, I mean, it is, guys. Like, it's, certainly we have to wait for a bracket, but, I mean, let's be honest. Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility that going into the NCAA tournament, that they couldn't be the 2 best teams in the country going into the tournament. I really don't think that's that far-fetched, so.
Last night, was that Tennessee's offense or was that A&M's defense? I know it was a lot of Justin Powell, who I don't think has had a great year so far.
Yeah, I think Tennessee's starting to figure some things out on offense. It's a lot easier when you have 5 guys that score between 13 and 16 or whatever it was last night. I think partly, though, it is A&M. I mean, A&M's lost 5 in a row now, and they've been right there in pretty much every game they've lost. But, as we always say, at a certain point, you can lose games, but at some point you have to actually win some to be able to get in the tournament. And I think A&M's kind of on a slippery slope now. But, for Tennessee, I think right now, to me, they're the third best team in the league because I think LSU slipped some. Alabama, I just don't trust enough at this point. Arkansas is making that push for that spot, but I think I'd still go with Tennessee just based on, they had that ugly game at Texas, but I don't know anyone who didn't predict an ugly game at Texas based on how those two teams played, and they had a chance to win, after that rally. And I think they've played a little bit better. At least I've seen some things offensively. They haven't put up 90 a game or anything, but I see some things offensively. They're doing better over these past several weeks, and I think they're at least heading in the right direction on that front. But man, I say that, and I always think about that game against Oregon State last year in the tournament and some of those really frustrating offensive performances we've seen from this team under Rick Barnes. And I wonder kind of, if last night was more of an outlier than maybe a trend going forward.
And his tournaments, both at Texas and at Tennessee, notwithstanding the Final Four run at Texas, now back in 2003. Time moves on.
Yeah, it's and for whatever reason, it has pretty much always been about the offense. I mean, their defense, you can bank on Tennessee being one of the better defensive teams in the country year in and year out. I mean, think about this: like they lose Deep Pods last year. That's the reigning SEC Defensive Player of the Year 2 years in a row, and they've still been able to pretty much. I mean, obviously, you love to have that guy on the floor, but they've been able to figure it out without him. And now I think it's still just a matter of figuring it out on offense, where you're not just trying to grind for every win. But hey, at least they're winning. I'll say that.
Is there any explanation for Alabama how up and down they've been? I mean, 5-2 against ranked opponents, losses to Georgia, Mississippi State, Mizzou, Memphis. Is there
They're going to crush somebody's bracket?
Is there any explanation for what we've seen from them?
Brett just said exactly what I said to someone earlier. I think the problem with Alabama is that they're going to go into the tournament, and someone said earlier, Auburn fans chanting NIT and all that stuff last night. I think barring just a total collapse, Alabama's got too many good wins to not make the tournament.
Right.
But they're going to wind up in a 7, 8, 9, 10 spot or something. That's what, I would hope, if I'm a team toward the top, I would hope they wind up 5 or 6, because I don't want to see them in the second round, because that's the kind of team that we've seen. If they get hot, they can beat you. And they've got 3 wins that are better than anybody's. Yeah, they can blow you out. I mean, they've got 3 wins that are better than anybody's 3 wins in the country. Gonzaga, Houston, and Baylor. No one's got those 3 good of wins. And if they beat Kentucky on Saturday, nobody have those good of 4 wins. But they've also probably got the 2 worst losses in the SEC.
Right.
It's like they've also lost to Missouri and Georgia. So I think this is a team that, if not for Jaden Shackelford and Javon Quinterly and their ability to just explode on offense sometimes, I think this would be an average team at best, because defensively they just don't have it this year like they did last year. They don't have a Herbert Jones on the floor. They don't have offensively a John Petty who could knock down a lot of threes. This is just kind of team, I think, that sort of they're just going to go kind of with the flow. And however the game plays out, that's kind of what you're going to get with them. If they start hot, great. If they don't, then they're going to have to, make a furious rally like they did against Missouri a couple weeks ago, where it's like, they score 30 points in 8 minutes or something. They have that ability. And so the good thing for Alabama fans, except for last night, which I think was just a bad matchup, anyone going in there is tough. You're playing up to the level of competition. If you get to the tournament, you're going to be playing good competition. Right. So I think that's the good thing for them.
They're going to be that dangerous, maybe even double-digit seed. Do you remember the year that Mizzou got hot with Kareem Rush and got to the Elite Eight? And nobody, Mizzou partisans didn't have them advancing out of the first round. Alabama, they could make that big run and be that bracket darling, or you have them going out there expecting the big run and they lose the first round, to Clarion State.
Yeah, guys, believe it or not, me and my colleague Chris Lee, we spent 30 minutes this week. We were just decided to have some fun. We compared the SEC basketball teams right now to Seinfeld characters, and Alabama, I was 100% sold on George Costanza, because I think they're the team that you fully expect to do the opposite, and that is what they've been doing. So
who was Julie Louis-Dreyfus?
I think Chris actually picked Tennessee. the one that's kind of can be the main character at times, but other times just kind of slides into the background and just when you least expect it and those kind of things. So yeah, that
kind of like our Northwestern fandom that year, right?
Yeah, it's you want to know who Kramer was?
Yeah, that's the one I want to know.
I think this one's actually pretty easy when you think about it. So Kramer is who just comes barging in, and all of a sudden they do what they want. They come barging in. We started our conversation with this about Auburn. Like they're the team that has just crashed the party. They just come barging in, don't care, and here they are. So there you go. So
that's it.
That's a strong Kramer. Putting Auburn in Kramer. I hear you, Blake. Always appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Good
for joining
stuff,
us.
Blake. Have a great week.
Guys.
Hope everything's well. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Blake. And Blake from Blue Ribbon Magazine. You can follow him on Twitter at @TheBlakeLevel. How about Auburn as Kramer? I mean, Bruce Pearl and Kramer. I mean, you know what? I guess I can get on board with that type of comparison. By the way, I was talking to Brian about this at the break. Have we ever seen Bob Stoops and Chris Beard in the same room at the same time? They are strikingly similar in the face. If Chris Beard shaved that beard off,
it's up there with Prince Harry and Carson Wentz.
That's close.
I got to see it.
That's close. They got to be in the same room at some point because they got to. I mean, they got to convince me at this point.
With one being at Texas and one being an Oklahoma legend, I don't know how easy it would be to get them in the same room.
But that would be the good ruse to throw everybody off.
Exactly.
That's true.
Exactly.
Nobody would suspect this.
It's the perfect plan of action. If you were,
it's like every guy that kills their young wife. Nobody looks to suspect me. You're going to be the first person we check out.
That was morbid, Brett.
I mean, but
I got too far in it.
You know what?
He's on something.
It's time for a break. When we come back, we'll talk some Grizzlies right here on Sports 56 98.5.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world at sports56whbq.com or on the Sports 56 app.
Do you want a greener, more weed-free lawn? If you're like me, you can't stand the sight of dandelions, clover, or especially crabgrass. Hi, I'm Brandon Hawley, president of Lawn Solutions. We are your locally owned and operated weed control and fertilization company. We are also experts in disease and insect control on your lawn and landscape. Our uniformed technicians are full-time, year-round licensed and certified by the state of Tennessee. Lawn Solutions' personalized service is far more superior to that of national companies that promise but simply cannot deliver. We return phone calls, we keep appointments, and we want your business. What we will not do is bother you with endless phone calls or junk mail. Lawn Solutions will not sell you something your lawn doesn't need. If you're looking for a local lawn care company to kill your weeds and feed your grass, then Lawn Solutions is the finest. Call us at 867-5626. That's 867-5626. Or go online at lawnsolutionsinc.net. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for your business.
Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing is now currently hiring all positions. If you're ready to take your career to the next level, please apply today. Choate's is offering huge sign-on bonuses to seasoned technicians, plumbers, installers, and air duct cleaners. At Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing, we offer a career, not just a job, by putting you in a paid training program to develop your technical and customer service skills to best serve our customers. Choate's offers top pay in the Mid-South, weekly pay, paid vacation and holidays, company matching retirement account, health, dental, vision, and life insurance, and Christmas, Thanksgiving, and birthday bonuses. If this sounds like an exciting opportunity for you, then we should talk. So call us at 347-8086 or apply online at choateshvac.com under the careers link. Come, join our family.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with two of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
It's a new year. That means it's time for a floor model sale at Family Leisure. You can help Family Leisure make room for all the new 2022 products that are coming in. All floor models are priced to move right now. If it's on the floor, it's on sale. But you better hurry to get these special savings because once these floor models are gone, folks, they're gone. We're talking theater seating, massage chairs, arcades, foosball and hockey tables, all on sale. Shuffleboard tables, pool tables, they're on sale too. Plus, there's so much more on sale. And you can get New Year's deals on spas and swimming pools as well. Family Leisure needs the room for new inventory. So what's here has got to go. You can help them. The floor model sale is happening now at Family Leisure, Witten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together. Happy New Year from our good friends at Family Leisure. I'm with John Burgos in the alley at the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see you. How are things at the restaurant?
Thank you, Brett. We are here and we're making it. I have to say a big thank you to all of our customers that ordered food during the curbside days, bought gift certificate when times were slow, ordered food to be shipped from our shipping kitchen, and then came back down to eat when our doors reopened. We owe a debt to the Memphis and surrounding community for supporting us when we need it. I hope y'all all come eat some barbecue with us, but I also hope you'll support our local restaurants. And if your service is a little slow or an item isn't on the menu that you enjoy, cut them a little slack. Hopefully it'll be there soon.
Thank you, John. We appreciate you for feeding all of us, and we will take that advice to heart.
Brett, we also have a new twist at the Rendezvous. We now have outdoor dining. It's in the side alley along the Rendezvous, not the one in the front. And depending on the weather and depending on staffing, please call ahead to make sure we're open. And we hope it becomes the mainstay here at the Rendezvous.
Mr. Charlie Burgos' world-famous Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back rolling on Sports Time. Autos on listener line, 901-360-8255. Text us your questions, comments, and concerns. No, we have the ice storm coming. No, there's some people sheltering away. I know there's going to be some issues. There's no question about it. Hopefully we can keep power, but
we've already had one school district cancel classes tomorrow.
Oh, they'll all be canceled. They'll all be canceled.
But this is early for them to cancel. That's early. It's 4:30.
I've seen earlier in Memphis. I've seen earlier.
Are y'all with me on all the different colors on the radars and the warnings and the ice line to the snow line to the rain line? I mean, I've seen purples and reds and green. It looks like Gabe, I know you have a badly sprained ankle that's purple and yellow and blue.
Yeah.
That's what some of these radars look like. Looks like a bad, either that or somebody threw up.
I don't know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, they have to explain it to you. They're like, well, this part, this color green, and then this color green.
If the meteorologist tells me it, that's what I'm believing.
Yeah.
And bridges and overpasses, live coverage tonight, everywhere. Every bridge and overpass have a reporter on it.
Yep.
Wall to wall.
Now.
It looks like from about 2 o'clock on till drive time, really dicey and icy.
Yeah, stay off the roads.
I would always bet no, but not this time. They're not going to miss. This is
ice storm. No, ice is coming. Yeah. We're going to have about a half-inch ice. There's no, I don't doubt it, but I wonder how much it affects.
Common sense.
I'm just curious how much it affects our roads and the power. I just want to see what that looks like.
It's so funny that Greg couldn't drive in it. Because he's up there. He knows how to drive it.
Well, the guy has a Ford Fusion. Like, what do you want him to do? Backing out.
I got a Malibu.
We can't blame him.
Well, you didn't drive. You didn't drive in that, did you?
I drove from my house up to the little store and back.
Yeah. Brett, he couldn't even get out of his driveway. He was trying to. It was day
6 before I got out.
Couldn't move it.
I finally go to my car on the 6th day, battery dead as it can be. Called my friend at Western Auto. My good friend Mike Reeves took care of me. sent a truck over. I'm telling you, they were better than a pit crew. They had me a new battery on me running in no time. And it was cold.
Yes, it was. In the NBA last night, the teams that the Grizzlies are chasing both won. Suns beat the Nets 121-111, and the Warriors beat the Spurs 124-120. Elsewhere, Bucks beat the Wizards 112-98. Giannis, I mean, he's starting to become that guy where he could be the MVP every year. 33 points, 15 rebounds.
He's so good, it's going to hurt him.
And he only had 2 turnovers last night with a triple-double, an 11-assist triple-double. Unbelievable. Also, Raptors beat the Heat 110-106. The only reason I'm bringing this up is Gary Trent Jr. I don't know if you've watched him lately. His last 5, he's been unbelievable. 32, 32, 33, 31, and 33 points.
And very efficient.
And 31 for 55 from 3-point. That's 56%. Grizzlies play the Knicks tonight, 35-18, trying to get to 36-18, trying to
at
double
the world's
up that
most famous arena
at MSG.
Have you ever been to Madison Square Garden?
I haven't. I want to though.
I have, and way back a million years ago, long before I ever dreamed Memphis would have an NBA team, I fancied myself as a Knicks fan. That was my team.
Really?
Through most of the 70s. Yeah.
Okay. When did that stop? When did it? Was there a dead drop point where you just had to get rid of your fandom?
I pulled hard for them in '99 in the NBA Finals when they were an 8th seed that got all the way to the finals and got dusted by San Antonio for the Spurs' first title. I guess when we got a team, I still kind of held on to it, but not as rabid in the 80s and 90s as I was in the 70s for them.
So the Grizzlies tonight are 4-point favorites on the road against the Knicks. Desmond Bane yesterday was picked to be on the sophomores roster for the Rising Stars event and for All-Star Weekend, so that should be fun to see. Get to see Desmond Bane and John Morant sort of compete. Do we have any interest in the dunk contest this year? I know they finally announced Jalen Green's in it.
I have some. I mean, I'm not going to be riveted to it.
It's not what it was. It's not what it was.
It's not.
We need to get some stars involved. Really need to get stars involved.
We need Ja.
Yeah, but Ja said absolutely not.
But it's a lot like the home run derby. That thing wears you out for a couple of days. I mean, it's ice bath.
Well, hey, you remember the home run derby? I've seen guys stink the second half of the season because of the swing they were using during the home run derby. I remember, was it Bobby Abreu one year for the Phillies? He went in and hit about, I don't know how. He might have won.
I think Jim Edmonds got hurt in it, didn't he?
I think that's possible. Jim Edmonds got hurt doing a lot of things.
Hangnail.
Sneezing. I mean, he got
very
hurt a lot of ways.
Fragile.
But I remember Bobby Abreu when he participated in it. Second half of the season, he hit like 2 home runs. His power was gone.
Do you see? Because I do. Do you see now why opposing fans hated Edmonds so bad as a Cardinal? I do now. From listening to him doing games.
He's got one of the most boring deliveries too, as far as analysts are concerned.
Okay, I know last break I kind of
like Brad Thompson when Brad Thompson is on.
I like Doogie Howser doing the games. I do. But Jim Edmonds, you could almost tell him a truckload of kindergartners went over the cliff and he'll start laughing about it. He laughs too much. Rob Fisher and I are texting last summer.
Brad Thompson like that, Brett. Why he's going to be 90 years old.
No, Edmonds does it.
No. But you called him Doogie Howser.
He is doing. He looks like Doogie Howser. And Rob and I are texting each other last summer, and I'm laughing so hard at our text chain about him laughing over things that aren't funny. Stop laughing.
Jim Edmonds. When I was in high school, used to come by the high school. He lived over in West County.
Really?
Always stopped by Lafayette because I guess the connection. We have a lot of Cardinals players, a lot of MLB players.
Freeze.
I don't know why he stopped by, but he stopped by.
Maybe he's just a good guy.
He seemed nice.
Was he?
Always seemed nice. I don't have any very close relationship with him, but I do know.
Remember how
he
whined about having to bust to Springfield?
I do.
For the exhibition game.
I have heard stories about him here in Memphis too, when he was here briefly, and not all that. The stories aren't great. Let me just put it that way. Hour number 2 is in the books. Hour number 3. Very excited to bring on the guest we're about to bring on at the start. Carl Reed on college football from 247 Sports and CBS Sports. He's a former high school state championship winning head coach, football coach. and he has turned it around. He coached for DeSmet High School for 1 year and has now stepped into a prominent analyst role with 247 Sports. Had a very good interview with Lane Kiffin yesterday about NIL, about everything else in recruiting. We'll bring him on the other side. We'll discuss that with him right here on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
When you're watching the Tigers play or whatever team you support, you always look for the end result, the winning score. And when you're thinking of selling your home, the ultimate goal line is the closing table. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. Getting your home sold for what you want and when you want it makes everyone happy. You should talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers when you're thinking of selling your home, and make sure I'm one of them, especially if you want results. Most people have heard that when you want the job done, you need to call Sheldon. Call or email me today and find out about my highly successful strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option. You can reach me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's Sheldon Rosengarten. Call today at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. And go Tigers!
FanDuel Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56. To celebrate, new customers can bet $5 to win $280 in cash on either team to win when you use promo code CASH when registering. You'll get your winnings in cold, hard cash because cash is always better than free bets. There's no better place to bet Super Bowl 56 than FanDuel Sportsbook. Don't miss your chance to turn $5 into $280 in cash. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and use promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $280. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
What a great time to start a new year with a new car, truck, or SUV from our friends at Auto Universe Germantown. The new go-to place for the finest luxury vehicles you'll find in one place anywhere. It's on Winchester, just off 385. I'm out here looking at hundreds right now. Lexus, Toyota, Infiniti. Here's some great-looking Audis and Jeeps. And I see Hondas, Chevys, Mercedes, beautiful trucks, SUVs, and of course, cars. Go to eAutoUniverseGermantown.com and take a look for yourself. A lot of people complaining about long wait times getting service appointments. Well, just call Robert here at Auto Universe Germantown. He'll get you in now. 901-751-7300. Everything from brake service, rotating tires, transmission service, even checking the battery. Winchester just off 385. That's where they're located. You're going to love Auto Universe Germantown. Ask for Zach and tell him you heard it here on Sports 56 Radio. Finest pre-owned luxury vehicles and great no-haggle prices. 7300 Winchester off 385. Or online at eAutoUniverse.com.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
We are so excited about our next guest, Mr. Carl Reed from 24/7 Sports and CBS Sports. He's on Twitter at Coach Reed Live. We are excited about having him with us. We hope to have him quite regularly. We really look forward to visiting with him about his perspective on all things college football, the portal, everything going on. He's coming up after I tell you about the title sponsor this hour, and that's our friends at DeSoto Auto Sales, as Mr. Announcer Man said, at 5704 Goodman Road. It's DeSotoAutoSales.com. They're very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience where all the cars are checked out thoroughly, bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go find it for you, and you'll be treated like family by kind, courteous employees at DeSoto Auto Sales. Laid-back atmosphere, down-home environment. They care about your time and want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience because they know we live in a world today that time really matters, and that's why they keep it very simple and efficient. Find the car you want, test drive that car, credit approved, paperwork completed. You're out of there in 45 minutes or less, in time to do it over your busy lunch hour, in time to do it right now. Go get that bread and milk and get home in time for the ice storm. At DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road. Get a big truck down there to get around in this ice if you need one. At DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road for that town and country experience. Head on down to DeSoto County to DeSoto Auto Sales.
We bring in Coach Carl Reed at Coach Reed Live. Carl, how are you?
Good. You guys, how you guys doing today?
We are doing well. You got some snow there in St. Louis?
Man, yeah, we got snow. Everybody was out of school and out of work today.
Yeah.
You know, so the city's kind of backed up a little bit, but I give it a day or so, man, and everything will be back like normal. I got to get on the plane somewhere and get me to some warm weather, though.
I hear you.
You better, Coach. Now, y'all don't freak out in the Lou like we do down here over snow and ice. Now, Coach, how old are you, if I may ask?
I'm 41.
Okay, because I was telling Gabe the other day the legend, the story, and the legend that he was, and you'll remember Keith Van Zandt and that horrible injury that he had in a Missouri All-Star game. He was on his way. I mean, they were talking Heisman Trophy for him when he was going off to Mizzou, and it really hampered him.
Yeah, so Tony Van Zandt, legendary play. He's the
Tony,
best
I'm sorry, I said Keith. You're right. Tony, thank you, Coach.
Tony Van Zandt is the best high school football player to ever come out of St. Louis. And so
told
Tony,
you, Gabe.
He played at Hazelwood Central High School. I'm also a graduate of Hazelwood Central. So you grow
good.
up going
on.
I actually talked to Tony last week. He's still around. He's in great spirits. He's got a lot of successful business things going on.
Good.
But he is, no question, the greatest high school football player to ever play in the city of St. Louis and in the state of Missouri.
Mike Claiborne said the only person that could enter the conversation about that best tailback ever out of the state of Missouri would have been James Wilder from Sykeston. But he said Van Zandt what was better than Zeke Elliott.
Yeah, Tony Van Zandt. I mean, you just had to be able to see it. You're talking about a guy that's 6'2", 230 pounds, one state in the 100 and the 200. Just unbelievable. Led Hazelwood Central to their first state championship, which started a championship run for us as a program for many years. Yeah. And so he is the legend. Everybody here knows all about Tony Van Zandt.
Yeah, and my good old high school, Lafayette High School, we played Hazelwood Central a couple times, Coach. It was never good looking. It was always ugly. Well, we got to the playoffs. Always ugly.
What? Don't feel bad. You're not alone. You know, it's other people. It's other people with you.
I hear you. Now, it's weird because today is National Signing Day. It's the original National Signing Day. This is when I signed out of Lafayette High School. This is sort of the normal way that we have been doing things for a long time. What do you think, though, about the early signing day? Do you think that has sort of hampered and been a negative overall in the recruiting process?
Well, I hate it. I never was a fan of it, and I hate it just because the amount of coaching changes that happen after that, and the pressure that it puts on people to rush to get guys fired so you can have a guy in place for that date. And I think that that's an unintended consequence of the early signing. When it was instituted, it was the college coaches kind of complaining that, oh, I'm having to hold on to these guys till February. I'm having to work harder. Well, the unintended consequence of that is now if you start off 2-3, they're going to fire you, all right, because they want to get somebody in before the early signing date. You're not going to really have time to work through that. So there's an unintended consequence to every decision. And what happens is you're having guys sign with schools and then coordinators and position coaches, and in a lot of cases, head coaches are almost immediately switching jobs after that period. I think it puts the kids in a really bad situation.
Mm-hmm. And with it, some of the kids that you've put out over the years, how have they been able to sort of navigate that new wrinkle with coaches leaving at the drop of a hat and being able to transfer? Have they been able to sort of have that freedom of movement and been able to move around pretty freely?
Well, the kids who play for me are different because I'm educating on them.
Right.
I'm educating them on the business. And so my guys probably aren't as emotional about the coaching movement as they may be other places because we well aware going in that could happen. I have a nephew right now that's in the class of 25 that's a freshman that's going to be one of the top players in the country. And he's got 10 offers. And I was talking to him the other day, and I said to him, every school that has offered you to this point, the coach who offered you that scholarship will have changed jobs twice by the time you sign on National Signing Day. So it really doesn't mean anything at this point. You know, you have to stay focused on your academics. You stay focused on just being a great player. And then the recruiting process will take hold when it takes hold. And then you'll have some decisions to make. But it's all kind of different levels to how you deal with it depending on how good of a player you really are.
Boy, that is good advice to him. It will take care of itself. What do you think, Coach? What do you think of the Bo Pelini idea several years ago? Not all ideas from Bo Pelini were bad. He had this idea that on the day you're offered, you can accept, and that counts against that school's total, and that you must take them.
Well, I don't like that because to me that's even puts you in a worse situation in the early signing period, right? So Bo Pelini's going to offer me in May, and I can take it right now in May. And then when his defense gives up 400 yards a game and they fire him in September, I'm still screwed.
And he hits an assistant coach. Yeah.
Yeah, so that I'm still not in a better situation because of that. So I don't think that's the answer either. And what I think overall is this is just the business. This is just the way the business is. And you have to go in and you have to know what it is, and you have to be prepared and educate yourself, and you just take care of it, man, and wish yourself the best, man, and hope it works out for you.
Mm-hmm. And another thing that's going on right now, you have these conversations, Paul Feinbaum the other day talking about, do we need to expand the college football playoff or talk about transfer portal regulation first? And I hear that sort of buzzword thrown around, transfer portal regulation. The way I hear it, it seems like restriction. What say you about that? Do you think that there is any type of regulation that they need to put on the transfer portal compared to what they have right this second?
The only thing that I think that needs to change is I think that there needs to be a date or a window when you can enter the portal. I don't think that you should be able to quit in the middle of the season and then immediately go on the portal. I think you should have to finish the season. But other than that, I mean, that would really be my only issue with. I just don't think that you can, because if you're going to say the amateurs, you can't sign amateurs to an employment contract, right? That's the problem. The schools are not paying the kids. They've allowed them to do name, image, likeness and get income from third parties. But if you're saying that the kids are amateurs, you cannot hold them to legally binding employment agreements when they are amateurs. Amateurs have the free reign to move about as they want, whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm. And I've seen this sort of thought process, and with the one-time transfer rule, with the transfer portal, I think people have this weird thought that it works one way. It works for the athletes. They get to do what they want. They get the freedom of movement. it seems like there's another side to this since the transfer portal's been so available. It seems like coaches in their own right are forcing guys out to a certain extent and saying you have the freedom of movement. It's probably better to get in that transfer portal.
Well, they've always done that. This has been going on for years. Like, coaches have been pushing guys out of programs since the 60s, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is now it's more prevalent because of the portal and the nature in which you can turn your roster over. But like I was telling a guy earlier today, I'm not going to say what his name is, but a former NFL player, we were going back and forth about the portal, and he said, oh, we were so much tougher back in the day, and we were so much more committed, and we, we just competed and competed. Well, they didn't have a choice, right?
They were landlocked. Yeah,
you were landlocked. Back then, if you wanted to transfer, you had to get permission from the coach. He was able to tell you where. Yeah, he was able to tell you where you could go and where you couldn't go. He controlled all of the moves on the chessboard. And so, yeah, you wanted to leave, you just couldn't leave. So since you couldn't leave, you stayed and you competed. But you weren't any tougher than the kids are now. You just didn't have any option. If we would have had the option to transfer in the 90s and in the 80s, we would have transferred too. It would have been the same situation, So we got to be really careful when we're critical of these kids and the decisions that they're making and acting like our era was so much better or so much different or that the guys were so much tougher. There was a lot of quitters in our era too, right? It was a lot of guys that went and played college football and they gave up on it. They quit. Their heart wasn't in it. They didn't want to compete. That's been going on for many, many years. That's not new to the game.
So true. I can name so many players that contributed at another place that transferred in the 70s, people that act like it didn't go on then. Kevin Scanlon coming from NC State, from Beaver Falls, PA, to be the quarterback for Lou Holtz at Arkansas in the late 70s is a great example of it. There are many from the 70s and 80s, but Coach, as time passes on, everybody thinks they walk to school uphill in the snow both ways.
Right. That's exactly what I was telling the guy today. We had a little snowstorm. All the kids get out of school for anything, man. They were like, when we were kids, we would have had to go to school. No, we didn't go to school when we were kids. When we got to stay home too. So the older we get, the tougher we were. That's how the story goes.
I mean, my mom even fell for me playing sick where I could stay home and watch the Red Sox and the Yankees in the one-game playoff in Bucky Dent's home run. She knew I wasn't sick.
All our mamas was patting us on our backsides and rubbing our heads. That's not nothing new.
That's right.
All right. So you had this conversation yesterday with Lane Kiffin, and I thought there were some interesting things that came out of it, including what he said about NIL and what he said about Jimbo Fisher's recruiting class. And I'm by no means am I saying that Lane Kiffin is the only guy that feels this way. What have your with your interaction with coaches around the country, what has been the overwhelming sort of message coming out of NIL?
What do coaches complain about? Everything, right? So you have to understand that. So you complain about NILs, but they all benefit from it.
Right.
They complain about the transfer portal, but they all benefit from it. At the end, everybody's just trying to find a competitive advantage, right? And so if it benefits me, then I love it. But when it costs me something, I don't like it, right? So you got to be able to take the good with the bad. And I think they all kind of know that, but everybody's jockeying for position. Everybody's trying to do all that they can do to have the best program they can have. Because one thing we know for sure, if you don't win, you are going to get fired. You will not have a job. They're not going to give you time. There is no patience. And where else can you get a job making $5 to $8 million a year, right? Where else, if you're an assistant position coach in the SEC and you're making $400,000 or $500,000, where else can you get a job making $500,000 a year? So the competitiveness of it is at an all-time high because of the money that's involved. But if you lose, you're going to lose your job, and that's just the game, and that's what it is.
Carl, either, neither, or both. With all the roster upheaval, with all the transfers, with the portal, should we expand spring have earlier report date instead of August 1, maybe July 20? Either, neither, or both?
We shouldn't do any of that. Okay. We should recognize the fact that the game is in the greatest place it's ever been. The TV money, the revenue, the money that the coaches are making is at an all-time high. The players are having an opportunity to make money. And at the end of the day, no matter what rules you make, no matter how you adjust the calendar, no matter expand the playoff, don't expand the playoff, the best teams are going to win, and the guys who aren't the best teams are going to lose. And it's going to always be that way. Become an elite coach, try to hire an elite coach to get your program to a certain level and support them. But other than that, no matter how you would change and adjust the rules, the best guys are going to always be the best guys.
Mm-hmm. So when you were talking with Lane yesterday, the luxury tax comment came up. Do you think that was fair, foul, or anything else?
Well, I think that's his opinion. That's his truth, right? So I think that everybody has the right to their opinion and how they feel about it. And, you know, Jimbo said today in his interview that the $30 million in NIL money that everybody said they get isn't true. And some people believe him and some people don't.
Right.
But if he
I kind of don't.
He's never lied to me before.
Yeah.
Right? So if he said it, I got to take him at his word for it, right? He knows his business better than I do. But I think that everybody has the right to have their opinion, and your truth is whatever it is based on where you're sitting at in the moment and how it affects you.
Carl, so true. And just because we disagree with someone, they don't need to be shut down, and they don't need to be canceled, and they don't need to be ignored. I think let the market speak for it. If somebody, like this radio show, if somebody comes on and says outlandish, or if I come on and say outlandish, wild things, the market will speak. And if just because somebody disagrees with you doesn't need to be, they need to be neutered.
Well, we live in a society now that's the thing, and every time you say something that people don't agree with, they come out and they attack you and they bring their pitchforks, right? Mm-hmm. And so people are very sensitive in that way, and we have to recognize that. But I think in college football, man, this is a big boy's business, and it's played with big boy rules, you know, and only the strong are going to survive.
Right, and we fill the void on Twitter and social media with we fight stupidity with stupidity these days. I feel like, especially on those social medias, the amount of people disagreeing and doing all that nastiness back and forth. It is ridiculous to see. Now, one more thing for you before we let you go. We sort of mentioned about expanded playoffs possibly. I don't think anything will happen until 2026 whenever this contract runs up. But what do you think about where we're headed with an expanded playoff?
I don't think it's going to make a difference. You're still going to see Alabama. You're still going to see Georgia. You're still going to see Ohio State. You're going to still see Clemson. You're going to still see those teams that have made the personal commitment to be elite in college football. And if expanding it makes you feel better, expand it. But when the last game gets here, we know who we're going to see.
Mm-hmm. We can have a 91-team playoff bracket, and I can still tell you over the next 20 years, you give me about 8 to 10 teams, and that's who's going to win it.
Every single time, it's going to consistently be those same programs. Nobody is committed to college football the way that the SEC is, except for a handful of programs outside the SEC. When you think in Clemson, Ohio State, USC, Oregon has made a really strong commitment lately. Notre Dame is it's a small number that has a realistic chance to win a national championship.
If Jim Harbaugh leaves for the Vikings, how will he be remembered for his tenure as head coach of the Wolverines?
As an underachiever. He'll be remembered as the guy. They did get it done and beat Ohio State, but it did not bring the championships the way that Michigan was hoping it did when they brought Harbaugh in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. And it looks like he may be headed off that way. It really does. Coach, appreciate it, man. You can follow Coach at Coach Reed Live on Twitter.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We'll do it
Thank
again.
you so much.
We will do it again.
We will.
A lot there to break down. And Coach
and see,
Reed,
Gabe, I'm that way about the basketball tournament. Now, a lot of different teams can go to the Final Four, but you go over that basketball tournament on who wins it. And we've had two first-time winners the last two tournaments in Baylor and UVA, so they cracked through. But how big a surprise did either one of them really come from? One from the ACC that should have won 40 years ago with Ralph Sampson, and Baylor was kind of a bigger surprise from the Big 12 and everything their program has been through. But you give me about 15 college basketball teams, and I'll bet you I'll have the winner over the next 20 tournaments.
Yes, and in college football, it's shrunken down to the elite of the elite group. Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, Georgia. That's what you're looking at every single year. And I'm for expansion. I'm always going to be for expansion. I think 8, 12, whatever you want to get to. But I am.
I'm going to enjoy it.
I am not dumb enough to think that we're going to have a whole bunch of different teams somehow winning it because we expanded. That's not how it's going to work.
See, Gabe, I'm sad to say I think the never crowd for a group of 5 now is right. It will never happen again.
Mm-hmm. Well, if we expand, we're going to get the group of 5 in. Will they win games? That's a different conversation. Yeah. That's a completely different conversation.
Unless my Houston Cougars come through.
You are banking on those Houston Cougars. I'm sorry. I hate to say it. I really hate to say it because I'm good friends with his nephew. But I can't put my money on Dana Holgorsen, Brad. I can't do it. I just can't.
Coach Reed was great.
Yeah, Coach Reed was great. When we come back, have a couple of college football nuggets to get to, and we talk about what's trending right here on Sports 56 98.5.
You have opinions?
Well, you gotta have an opinion.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Mount Moriah Auto Sales. What sets them apart? Great selection, quality, high-end to low-end cars, and low mileage. Mount Moriah Auto Sales is under new management. Ask for Emmett or Steven. Check out their great selection of cars or trucks. Choose from Dodges, Jeeps, Fords, GMCs, Infinitis, Porsches, Range Rovers, Lexus, Mercedes, BMWs, even Bentleys. Mount Moriah Auto Sales also has a great service department with 12 bays for everything from oil changes to alignment to new tires. Go to MountMoriahAutoSales.com. Pick out your like new car or truck today. Mount Moriah Auto Sales, right on the corner and right on the price.
Right now is a great time to take advantage of Choate's winter specials by upgrading your furnace, switching to a Rinnai tankless water heater, or getting $50 off air duct cleaning. By now, you most likely have heard of the benefits of UV light technology for your HVAC system. Purchase any new Carrier furnace right now, and we will install one for you at no additional cost. For those who have not installed a tankless water heater yet, what are you waiting on? Stop wasting utilities heating water you do not use and getting frustrated taking cold showers or baths. Right now, when you purchase a Rinnai tankless water heater, Choates will install one premium toilet for free in your home. And Choates is offering $50 off its air duct cleaning services. Not only does this service get the years of dust out of your ducts, it also helps the indoor air quality you and your family breathe every day. All these specials qualify for 18 months no interest financing with approved credit. So call 347-8086 to schedule your free estimate today. Turn to the experts with Choates and let our family serve your family.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
The global shortage on chicken is finally over, but there are still places that will tell you that it is hard to find, except for our good friends at Poultry Power. Poultry Power is currently delivering chicken in bulk to your home or business at prices lower than your local grocer or a food distributor? Having a cookout or catering event? Tired of being told no by other food companies when you need chicken for your restaurant? Poultry Power can save the day. Visit www.poultrypower.org to place your order now. And remember, when others tell you no, Poultry Power has the power to tell you yes.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
It's the second National Signing Day. Early signing day. We talked to Coach Reed about it. He's not a big fan. I know I'm not a big fan. Brett, I know you're not a big fan. I don't know if anyone is a big fan of the early signing day, but we are on the normal signing day right now, and Texas A&M is really just cleaning up. They're absolutely cleaning up.
We knew they would.
They land another 5-star today. D lineman Shamar Stewart from Florida, 6'6", 272, sort of an edge guy who can also move inside, play 3 technique, the whole 9 yards. They are the 4th program now with that commitment and that signing. Fourth program in the modern recruiting era to have 7 5-star prospects in a single class.
And they got a great coach. They've got great facilities, showplace facilities, great fans.
And I agree with Lane Kiffin. They have the NIL money to attract these players. There's no question about it.
There's better it just for kicks.
There are better places to go play college football than Texas A&M. But they have attracted. It's a good one. I'm not saying it isn't, but there are better. You talk about Alabama. You talk about Georgia, Ohio State. Guys that just spit out NFL draft picks and always compete for a national championship.
Do you feel like a lot of people, SEC West, we know Texas, when they come in, they'll be there, kind of pulling for anybody that's playing A&M that day?
Yeah. They've sort of – and A&M, we know how mad they were about Texas joining the conference. They're still frustrated about it. I don't know how many people out there are big A&M supporters, big A&M fans in the SEC, because they've been the threat here for a while now, Brett. Since Jimbo got there, they've been the threat to sort of blow up the Alabama, the Georgia sort of monotony, and they haven't. They just haven't done it.
I promise you, I've been hearing it most of my life.
I know. Whether it was
Emory Bellard and the newfangled wishbone in the 70s.
Whether it was
going to change
things. Big 12, wherever they've been.
Hiring Mike Sherman from the NFL. This is the one. This time's really it.
But if they're getting this type of recruiting class and the results don't show, I mean, it is what it is. Now, Jimbo has shown.
How long do we give him?
Oh, Jimbo's fine. Yeah,
Jimbo must go to Atlanta. When?
Must? Oh, gosh.
Must.
I don't know how worried he has to be even if he doesn't make it. I really don't. I mean, that's
what $75 million gets you?
That side of the conference is tough.
We're just trying to make friends?
But look at Jim Harbaugh, for example. Finally broke through this year.
Great example.
But
great example.
But they extended him every single year because he's winning 10 games a year.
Well, they docked his pay, though.
Yeah, but then
he brought him into principal's office.
And guess what happens? Next year, he finally made it through, and he gets the pay all the way back.
That weather was great. Being at the Iron Bowl and watching that tailgating, that was great.
He gets the pay all the way back. So, look, breaking through in the
I know
SEC
I'm ready
West.
for October 29th next year to go to College Station. I love going to College Station.
Right.
Drew and Rob used to laugh behind my back, go, oh, Lord, we're going to hear how much he can't wait to get down there the next week. We're going to hear how much he loved it, because it is. It's all that. They're so nice. Well, and it's the Stepford wives of campuses. I mean, they all look the same. They all act the same. They're all so very courtly and neighborly and howdy and so nice.
It's time to get you in trouble then. Who's going to be starting quarterback for Ole Miss when that trip is made?
Jackson Dart.
Yeah. It's hard to believe a guy coming as a transfer, as a 4 or 5 star, depending on where you looked at. It's hard to believe Lane Kiffin handpicking a guy is not going to go Lane Kiffin's way.
But he's got to put the work in.
Of
they
course
want him plenty motivated. And you got to have somebody there if he were to go down, and Luke Altmaier will be more than capable of that.
But Luke
Altmaier is going to want that role.
I was going to say I hate to bring that up.
Yeah.
But the transfer portal is always open.
Always open.
So if it does not go his way, you wonder what he'll do. But
it's Hotel California.
Yeah, and Luke Altmaier was still a decent recruit, still a good recruit. I still think Lane Kiffin has some belief in him, so we'll see how it works itself out. But I saw Jackson Dart play some ball last year, and he can sling it.
One other thing about Jackson Dart, you watch from last year and see that gigantic brace on that right knee.
Yeah, just get another brace. Just get it fitted. We're good.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here. What are you talking about, Brad?
Now, one thing about the
knee brace is the
and I warned of it before
prevention.
It happened. And I'm going to say it while it's the benefit of my team, because I know soon it's going to be to the detriment of my team. Could be really soon. Could be tomorrow. I would beg fans. I would beg you, just like I begged when somebody gets in trouble with NCAA, don't take glee. I know you do. I know we all do. But don't. Because that scathing headline today that's about your rival that you get to crack on your buddy at church or at the golf course or wherever, it could be
around.
you tomorrow.
Well, it comes back around.
Today, to Ole Miss people celebrating Malik Heath and his transfer from Mississippi State, I think Malik Heath had 7 or 8 catches against the Tigers at the Liberty Bowl during that game. Slow down on that, because tomorrow tide could turn, pardon the pun.
And maybe you don't know about this, but is Malik Heath okay? Is he okay?
Well, that has to be determined too, because he couldn't go in Egg Bowl. I think he had a catch.
I think he got into an accident, from what I remember, before the
AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
So I hope he's okay.
So I would just beg everybody, don't give it too much, because you're going to get it back.
Yeah. The transfer portal. If we're going to cast aspersions on every team having certain players getting in the transfer portal, we're never gonna. It'll be never ending. So it's just so open. It's so available, and it works both ways. And I think Ole Miss for the most part has done a good job of trying to bring those guys in. And Lane Kiffin
navigating those waters.
I do think it's very important. Obviously in recruiting in general, but the image of your program and the type of developer you have as the head coach is so important to getting guys out of the transfer portal. And Lane Kiffin bringing in quarterbacks, I think, is something that you can just about count on out of the transfer portal.
Now, Gabe, you would be great for this. Let our listeners know, like for, let's say, Jackson Dart.
Right.
What does, other than, he has to go to class, what does he do that's legal with the coaches or with any instruction or with his teammates? What can he do starting tomorrow before spring football starts?
As far as like meetings and everything else?
Yeah.
He can go in and he can talk to coaches willingly. It's got to be a voluntary thing. He's got to go in and he's got to sort of look at film and everything else. He can either do it with a coach around or with a coach not around, look at the cut-ups and everything else.
How much instruction can he do? How much on the field or in the indoor practice facility?
I think right this second with sort of winter conditioning upon us, I'm not sure that we've gotten into this whole spring practice thing, so I don't know if he can, as far as the technicality is concerned,
well, that's
be
the great
on
thing
the
with
field,
indoor facilities.
But I don't know if he can be on the field.
Close the door.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know if by NCAA land of the law he can be on the field with a ball with Lane Kiffin on the field.
Gabe, back in the day in Arkansas, and they should have been. They were very proud of what then was their indoor practice facility. And now it wouldn't. I mean, I'm sure a lot of high schools have bigger and nicer, but it was nice for the day. The North End Zone building is what everybody called it. And one day I was up there, and it was like February the 13th. I mean, not anywhere close to spring football starting, and the season had ended. And I heard pads popping. I heard, grunting and gnashing of teeth. I said, "What's going on?" It's they're in there working out. They're practicing position changes. So I got a tight end playing linebacker and vice versa. And I went down there, man. It was full
practice,
rear end cracking.
Yeah, I think the NCAA, if they knew about something like that, they'd have to step in.
That's 1983.
There's certain things that get slid under the.
And what they were really
carpet.
working on was trying a position change for some guys and seeing how that would develop.
But it was a full practice, though. Is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
That's how that tends to work. Also, we talked to Brent Beard yesterday about Kevin Steele, a defense coordinator. He just agreed to become the Maryland coach last Friday.
Barely got the name played up outside
Friday.
his office.
Yesterday agrees to become the defensive coordinator at the U with Mario Cristobal. 4 days of work. Again, I said it started last Friday. We get mad at players in the transfer portal moving quickly. My gosh, there's got to be some accountability for something like this. To sign a contract, stay there 4 days, and hop at the earliest chance you get. It's just not. It's not okay to me.
I'm sure he was buddies with Mike Loxley from the Bama building,
right?
But also buddies with Mario Cristobal from the Bama building, and the pay and the weather.
4 days of work,
at the U.
Brett. 4 days of work, but a lifetime of memories. But
it
a
does.
lifetime.
That's
of memories.
right. It can go forever. Kevin Steele was a tough player in the day, linebacker at Tennessee. He was bad. He was bad news. But you got to Google. Y'all got to go to YouTube and see. I wonder if they have it when he and Kevin Green squared off on the sideline. First of all, if you
don't want to be in the middle.
If you toe it up with Kevin Green, you feel pretty confident about yourself.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to be in the middle of that. You don't want to don't want to get caught in any returns. Now, also this, it impacts our city. There's no question about this. Jackson State terminates their agreement to participate in the Southern Heritage Classic. And this is what it said within the termination sort of letter that they sent. JSU stated that their governing athletic conference, Southwestern Athletic Conference, the SWAC, has entered an agreement that conflicts their agreement with the Southern Heritage Classic. Agreement. A lot of agreements going on. That's
tough
kind
last
of
few years.
It's kind of a kick in the stomach. Kind of a kick in the stomach because you see what Jackson State's doing and how much pub they have around their program. Shadur Sanders getting a Gatorade NIL deal, and now it's sort of ending.
It's ending. I wonder if it will end, if they'll find another team to play Eddie George and Tennessee State last year. Coming out of COVID, 2 years ago didn't have a game because of COVID. 3 years ago, the 2019 game was very weather marred. I don't think it got to the halftime, did it?
Mm-hmm. I don't think so. I don't know exactly. We'd have to get the exact. I don't know when it.
But it had been a rough patch for Fred Jones in that game, and he was so good at that game that the whole world kind of stole his idea.
Mm-hmm.
And those games popped up everywhere.
Yeah, they'll find a replacement. I believe they will, but that's a big loss, losing Jackson State. That's a huge loss. Now, Senior Bowl's going on right now. Calvin Austin III and Dylan Parham, both the guys from Memphis, are performing at a really high level. I've been going through tweets, getting texts from guys that are there. I texted Bo Marchant back and forth about Dylan Parham. They are competing at a high level, and those are two guys in particular. When you look at a possible, day 3, day 2 draft pick, they have the potential to rise up to day 2 if they have a good Senior Bowl and have good combines.
I'm not as concerned about where they're going to be drafted. I think they both make opening day rosters.
Mm-hmm. And
somewhere, somehow.
Here's the thing I've been saying about Dylan Parham, and I'll go full O-lineman for a second. He has been a guard. He played right tackle 1 year for the Tigers, but he is so good moving inside and sort of covering up those short areas at guard and at center. I saw a clip from him yesterday at center. He was under center. He had a one tech that he had to go reach, and the fact that he reached it was an outside zone. The guy cut off of his block and went for a touchdown. He has the upside to really make it in the NFL. Calvin Austin, I'm very curious about. I think he needs to polish up as a route runner, but his speed is you cannot deny it. Dylan Parham, I think, could be a starter in the NFL for some time, and this is the first time anybody's ever seeing him at center. Is in this game.
All right, Gabe, I would love text him and ask him this for us. How much practicing the shotgun has he done?
Oh, yeah, a fair amount. And here's the thing: he was sort of emergency center at Memphis, so he had to, snap it and learn how to do it that way and get with the program. But
because we know who the emergency center in the NFL, who that is. That's usually the right or left guard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They don't have the roster spots to have a backup center.
You don't want to get in that position, though. You don't want to have an emergency center out there. It's always very sketchy. But this is the first time we've gotten to see him at that position at center, and he is certainly getting it done.
In a normal game prep week, like for the Tigers, how much run with the first team offense would the emergency center even get?
With the first team?
Yeah.
None with the first team. You're talking second, third team guys. The rotation.
So that's doomsday
That's when you
scenario.
go in there. Yeah, I was the emergency center my senior year, so I was not running with the ones unless somebody was out of practice.
Yeah.
Unless somebody had to miss practice that day.
Did you practice it with the ones an hour all year at center?
Maybe an hour. Maybe an hour flat. 60 full minutes.
That is hard.
Where do you think Dontario Drummond and Braylon Sanders sort of land?
I think they both get drafted, but I don't think before fourth.
Mm-hmm. And that's how I feel about Calvin Austin and Dylan Parham. I don't necessarily see them
They might have
rising
to play
up
some special teams.
past day 3. I think they're
Be a
day
fifth
3
receiver.
guys. But I'm telling you, both
Drummond's hands are so good.
Yes, both of the guys from Memphis, as far as pro days and combines are concerned, they can light it up in a hurry. And we've seen 40s push guys way up draft boards.
Braylon Sanders' durability, just not being able to stay injury-free is a question. And also, sometimes his hands could get a little inconsistent.
Besides the one last year with Braylon Sanders, was there anything else besides nicks and bruises?
It was always something, nothing major, not always, MCL, ACL, shoulder, anything, but just enough to knock him out of 2 or 3 games. And then when he'd get back, get rolling, then get knocked out again.
Mm-hmm. That's tough. That's tough. And
really couldn't catch a break.
And you know what I really hate with the NFL draft? You do get that when you are injured and when you miss a big part of one season, they give you that damaged goods label, and it's so hard to beat that.
It's hard. Only one way to shake it.
It's so hard to beat. You just got to stay healthy. You got to do everything you can.
The catch Braylon Sanders had at Alabama, that was the ESPY. That was the winner of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's
on the sideline, one hand, and you see Richard Cross on the sideline do a big scissors kick. He was right there.
From what I got to see of Braylon, he is a really talented guy. In the NFL, he projects as more of he's a mover. He could probably move. He mostly play inside, but he can move outside. And he's sort of more of a possession guy. That's what he'd more project at the NFL level, correct? He's not much for the run after the catch. Dontario Drummond, on the other hand, is a run after catch maniac.
And bubble and smoke and tunnel. He can do all that.
Yeah. Now, we're going to go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll put a wrap on this edition of Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You don't think about a lawyer until something goes wrong. When that happens, let attorney Stephen Leffler fight for you and your family. You don't leave the house in the morning expecting an accident, but it happens every day. A car wreck, you slip and fall, or you get accused of a crime and find yourself fighting for your reputation. Stephen Leffler has been fighting for you for over 35 years. Don't do it alone. Let Stephen Leffler fight your battles for you. Call Stephen Leffler, 901-527-8830, or go to LefflerLaw.com. Here to fight for you and your loved ones.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. As we all know, Memphis can be a hotbed for severe weather, and that weather can play havoc on our roofs. Most people don't know what they should do first when they're concerned about the condition of their roof. Call their insurance company, call a contractor, or trust a door-to-door salesman that's making claims that are hard to believe. My advice would be call the contractor that you know and trust. If you don't know any, research your local contractors and give 2 or 3 a call. I hope your research will lead you to us. Have your roof inspected, decide for yourself what you should do and whether or not you should file a claim with your insurance company. It's your home, it's your policy, and it's your money. Don't let anyone pressure you into anything. If you give Five Ash Roofing a call, we promise personal service with a member of our family with no pressure and no hype. Five Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Looking for some action? Sports gambling is legal in Tennessee. Action247.com. Local, legal. A sportsbook by Tennesseans, for Tennesseans. Go to action247.com. Register and place your bets. Are you a sharp or a first-time bettor? Action 24/7 has you covered. Visit us online at action247.com. Local, legal. Action 24/7. You got action.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-889-9789.
If you want to make money in sales, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. If you can sell, Flynn Broadcasting has a great career waiting for you. If you can sell, we have great benefits, salary, commission, sales leads, and a great place to work. If you can sell, let us know today. Send your resume to jobs@flynn.com. Can everyone sell? No. But if you can, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. Apply today at jobs@flynn.com. Start your great career today at jobs@flynn.com. Flynn Broadcasting wants you.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is Geraldo. It is crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Brett, what I learned today is that with the Brian Flores class action suit, there's going to be a lot of differing opinions on what actually will come of this. Some may say he'll settle. Some may say he has no chance. Some may say the Brian Flores case will actually work, and Brian Flores will get the desired result. But there's one thing that holds 100% true. While it's well-intentioned, the Rooney Rule is a sham. There's no question about it. And how do you fix it? What do you do? What do you implement? I don't necessarily know. But I do know it starts with and ends with owners. The ownership has to be on board with furthering the cause of hiring minority candidates, and until that happens, we won't get the desired result.
I think if they will think about how it helps to win football games, that would be the most important thing. And we know that you can. We know that they will. I learned today that 24-point leads are almost impossible to blow, but with a big injury down the stretch and poor play down the stretch, and only 5 made buckets for Ole Miss in the second half against LSU, Ole Miss almost did it, but they didn't. Not many wins with Deshaun Ruffin left for the rest of the year, and without him, maybe none.
You know what? I got to be honest. They are one of the scariest teams to watch in a close game in crunch time. They are one of the most.
It's a high wire act.
Turnovers and fouls. Luckily, last night they made
the
free
ball's
throws.
loose.
Luckily, they made their free throws last night, which helped them actually secure that
Tell
win.
me why every time they post the ball to Nasir Brooks in the low post,
he
wants to take the ball down low.
He's not an offensive player. He's just not an
Keep
offensive
it up
player.
high. You're 7 foot.
He's a putback machine. That's what he can do. He should. I don't know how often you
when
should
they throw it to him in the low post, he brings it down to guard level every time.
You shouldn't be entering the ball into Nasir Brooks in the post unless
Well,
you're instructing him to pass it immediately. But
throw it back out.
Hey, he's had some solid games here and there. He's old. He does some things. And also Luis Rodriguez, good game last night. 15 points, 12 rebounds.
Real good game.
Real good game. Now, what I could have done without is I get so annoyed when some of these conferences talk about student-athlete welfare. The America East has banned Stony Brook from conference
Ridiculous.
tournaments. And this is because they're going to need at-large bids to get in any NCAA tournament this year.
They can win it.
And the reason is because they are leaving the America East to go to the CAA, the Colonial Athletic Association. And all this talk from all these administrators, all these conferences about, we put the welfare of the student athlete first. No, you don't. You're not even letting these athletes compete in your championships because you're
Tigers
salty.
won the Metro one year like that.
But because you're salty about them leaving you?
The Tigers
Get out of here.
Were on probation and couldn't go to the tournament, go to Freedom Hall and win the Metro.
Goofball stuff.
It is goofball stuff. Could have done without. I don't really care about the name of the NFL team in Washington. I've gotten used to saying Washington, and when we're talking about the NFL,
I was
and
okay
NFC
with
East,
football team, Brett. I was cool
yeah,
with Washington football team.
People know who I'm talking about when I say Washington. I've been doing it for 12 years now. I quit using the old name a long time ago. So Commanders, go team, go. No Commanders pride for me.
Commanders, man. It's a little corny. I got to say, but I'm not as mad about it as some of the Washington fans are. Also, I could have done without the MLB. Good Lord.
Hail to the Commanders. Hail to old DC.
How about the MLB? And this is always funny. The Jeff Passan article that he wrote about their meeting that ended yesterday. Expect a delay to spring training. There's no deal and there's little progress made. That's what I'm becoming used
hope,
to.
Jeff. Give us hope.
Well, how's he going to give us hope if there is none?
Lie to us. Keeping a close eye tonight on the 5 live Dopplers in all the colors: pinks, blues, greens, reds.
And the Grizzlies.
Grizzlies for sure.
If our power stays on.
Keep the power up.
Yeah.
Just on SportsCenter, Grizzlies, Ja Morant compared to Michael Jordan.
I like seeing Jaren on NBA Today yesterday, too, with Malika Andrews. That was fun.
Yeah.
I think Kendrick Perkins has called them the dark side. Do we like that nickname?
Yes. Tonight in the AAC, third place Tulane against first place Houston.
Third place Tulane.
Who you got?
All right, that's all we have for today.
Houston by a million.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Alex Kuhn, Kevin Sweetie, Blake Lovell, and Carl Reed for their contributions to the show. For Brett, for Brian, I'm Gabe. Enjoy your night. We'll holler at you tomorrow at 3.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry,